Welcome to your Friday night AOSC, and we are coming to you from the Circuit of the Americas tonight for race number 201. AOSC11 underway, all thanks to Jinx Shifters and RaceKraft Simulations, of course. We've got a big track tonight. Joining myself, Matty Kavanagh, in the commentary box is Daniel Leet and Matthew Norris, of course. Welcome tonight, guys.
G'day, g'day. Great to be back for another Endurance COTA. It's a very unique circuit, and 650k is a long time for the guys out there tonight.
Yeah, it's an absolutely big one, isn't it, Norrie?
Yes, it's going to be fantastic. I just got the message on my phone that we're live on Facebook, so it's great to be here at the Circuit of the Americas, an incredible circuit in America, and thankfully we only visit once.
Can't thank our sponsors enough, of course. Jinx Shifters and RaceKraft Simulations for being on board for season number 11 of the AOSC, as well as our other sponsors, COTA Industries, AJ Insurance Services, Race Circuit Art Australia, simrigs.com, track cams for gourmets tonight, and of course Team 126 racing over in America. And I'm just trying to see if we have Mr. Eddie in here tonight, see if he's racing from Team 126. There's still a little bit of time as qualifying is underway. We are 15 minutes in, but it's huge tonight. 117 laps down, 650 kilometres. It's a bigger circuit here, 5.5 kilometres to get around, and a number of tight, twisty turns in this one as well. That's really going to see the brakes get used a lot, and they're really going to have to be careful they don't lock those tyres up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's almost a circuit of three different characteristics. Right the way from the opening sector of the race, it's very flowing. You've got to be able to get the cars to turn back on themselves relatively smoothly, but still keep that drive forward. As through this section here, we're watching Rick Kuznetsov go through, down through the S's. Basically starts all the way from turn 2, concludes down at turn 9 there. So it's very tricky to make these cars work. Then you throw into that the massively long straight that COTA is well renowned for between turns 11 and 12. And again, there you've got to get the braking absolutely right. Expect to see plenty of overtaking opportunities down through that section. But I think the big one tonight that we're really going to have to keep an eye on, because it's going to be very problematic for the teams and how they set these cars up, and also the strategy that they plan to run is the run down through turn 16 and to 18. It's a long radius right-hand corner, 3 corners linked together there, puts a huge amount of load on the outside left of these tyres. So if the guys aren't able to get them configured correctly, expect to see some maybe premature pit stops to get those tyres on and off these cars sooner rather than later.
Yeah, as you can see up there, Brian Borg's up the top of the charts with 204.605. Of course, teamed up with Corey Shepherd tonight, so we'll have to watch those guys with Shepherd leading the championship at the moment. But we spoke about getting around here, Norrie, and going through that. What is going to be your optimum strategy for tonight to start the race?
Starting the race, you want to have a lot of fuel in it to begin with, because it's going to be a long one. 117 laps in total. Now, that's if we get to our 4-hour limit. Let's remember that. No driver can do more than 77 laps, so it's going to be interesting to see who runs them home. And we're getting about 22 laps to a tank, so you got to fill it up a couple of times to make it the distance.
Yeah, we are going to see him have to change those drivers over a couple of times, which is good. It's great to see those rules brought in, of course, and we do have 2 fast repairs in there tonight. Minimum driver swaps 3. So 2 fast repairs. Is it going to be enough to get around this rather tricky track here tonight, Dan? You think we're going to see a little bit of carnage?
Look, I think 2 fast repairs more than enough to get here. It's a very wide circuit, so plenty of opportunity for the guys to abort if they do make a bit of an incident or run into some problem. I think the biggest issue that we're going to see is this turn right here, turn 1. It's fast up the hill. You've got the pit exit to contend with as well, but it's an incredibly sharp corner that the guys are going to work on. So the passing into that area is very tricky. The road does undulate a fair bit up there, but that with a field of cars flowing in there for the first time could be one to watch. Also keep an eye on that on the restarts if and when those do take effect.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Can Corey Shepherd continue this fight back? He did miss a round here a little bit earlier. It was round number 7 from Barcelona, where he wasn't here, and he just lost the lead in the championship there to Adam Briggs by a few points. But last week was a phenomenal effort from him to come home with the win and putting himself in the Premier Racing Team back on the top of the charts when it comes to our race series. Got the 52 laps done last week from Daytona, took the win home and puts himself back in the championship lead with 2,320 points, and now leaves Adam Briggs, who really didn't have the week that he wanted a couple of weeks ago and ended up back in 8th position. Now he trails by 100 points in the championship, so he's got a bit of work to do. Jordan Ross had a good outing there, and it came down to the last couple of corners there. We didn't know whether it was going to be him or Rick Kuznetsov fighting it out, dueling really. And James Scott, he was here and unfortunately did not have a good night at the last round at Daytona. So I have not seen him, though, in the names tonight, so we might not see a Mr. James Scott, because he hasn't been here all season, has he, guys?
He's not been here for most of the rounds, but the ones that we have seen him for traditionally have been the endurance events. And when you take into consideration the 650s that we've had so far, and then throw in Daytona last time out, which was a 300, it's a little surprising not to see him there. There was a few issues which we saw and did come out in the race stewards incident, so we won't dwell on those too much. But hopefully we'll get a chance to see him back with Logitech out on the race, or on the championship, sorry, to finish out the season.
Going to be very important tonight for Premier Racing Team. We've completed 9 rounds of racing as we go into the back half of the AOSC11, all thanks to Jinx Shifters and RaceKraft Simulations. And Corey Shepherd, obviously, up the top there. We go back to Brian Borg, who's in 4th position, and closely behind Rick Kuznetsov, who has just improved immensely this season. Keeps getting up there. Had a second a couple of weeks ago where he ended up from Suzuka. Daytona ended up with a 3rd position. So he is starting to go ahead in strides. I believe he is with Tixia tonight, so we'll have to see how they team up tonight with this endurance. The 650k race means we don't need to be as aggressive at the start. We've got plenty of time to make it up with 117 laps. Like you say, it's pretty much going to take up all the 4-hour allocation we've got for racing. So no one needs to really push their luck off the start tonight, although it will be very important for some of those names up the front to get a good starting position to make sure they're just not in that pack for that first really sharp left-hander there when they go up the hill and turn around, because I can see a little bit of carnage there, depending on the restarts as well, because the restarts, we get a safety car come out a bit later in the race, they can restart from the final corners for turn number 20 as they come onto the main straight as well. So we're going to see a lot of cars rushing there trying to make moves going up the hill in that turn number 1. I think we are going to see a little bit of carnage there tonight.
Interesting to see as we watch qualifying come towards the conclusion point. Only a 10th.5 separating the 2 Premier cars tonight. They're very evenly matched out on circuit. A little further down to a few of the others, Dyson and Briggs got a lot of work to do. They're 5/10 off the pace at this point in time, and we know qualifying in an event like this, not necessarily the be-all and end-all. You've got a long way to go to get through, but don't know whether they're starting to experience some of those issues as far as the setup goes and tyres, because once we get through the race, we know they're locked into that one. As we watch Rob Bowden just work his way across the line there in the tanked SRT cars. Another one to keep out for, and we haven't really seen a lot of Synergy getting probably some of the results that they would have liked earlier in the year. But this car here on screen, Jordan Ross behind the wheel of the 143, these guys will definitely be one to keep an eye out for. We know over the long races, they are very good to go, and their strategy is second to none. So look for them to make big inroads. A little further off the pace at the moment, 9/10 of a second behind.
And Nora, who's teamed up with Jordan Ross tonight? Is it Tom Freire?
I believe it is. But let me check that for you.
Because he is quite good when it comes to the strategy, so that could really take effect later on tonight. Big shout out to simrigs.com, of course, and RaceKraft Simulations, who sponsored the Drive of the Day points with a fantastic pedal set from simrigs.com to give away to the highest point scorer that's awarded after each round. Not necessarily the winners, someone who's come back from really put on a show for us, I suppose, or made inways, improved, got through the pack, come back from maybe a bad pit stop or something like that, and those points we're giving away at the moment. Rob Bowden, Adam Briggs and Corey Shepherd all on 5 points, so they could have a new pedal set coming away at the end of the season. But in saying that, we've still got 6 races to go, or 7 races to go really, to finish this 16-round season for AOSC11. We did the 200th race last time, coming here from Daytona, so we crack over into the first of the races over the 200 mark in the AOSC history. So race 201 here tonight, and what a place to celebrate that, the Circuit of the Americas. And like you said, Dan, earlier, the undulations here going up the hills, down the hills, there's a lot of stress on the cars, and be interested to see how that tyre degradation comes out, because we saw that change in iRacing last year where it changed how the tyres reacted and how much they degraded throughout the race, and we haven't been back here to race since then.
No, we haven't, and that's going to be the big talking point for the whole night is how the guys have teamed up with setting up these cars to make the most of it, because you don't want to compromise too much around the circuit here. You've still got a lot of time to make up, so if you can get the car working well, that's the best place to be. But in some of the earlier testing that I've had a try at this week, that left front is getting absolutely punished after about 4 laps here. So any little lock-up along the way, a little bit of contact, slide the car around, it's going to really hurt you for that stint. So consistency and pace is going to be the biggest thing that these guys can be working on tonight. But that being said, they're not leaving anything on the table through qualifying at this stage. We'll wait and see whether they do unload the cars a little bit differently when we click over into the race conditions.
And you see Premier Racing team strong in qualifying. Brian Ball, Corey Shepard up the top of the charts. Rick Kuznetsov just behind them, so they're 1-2 for the Premier Racing team. Andrew Dyson, who with Adam Briggs tonight, is in third at the moment, and Jordan Ross just behind from Synergy Sim Racing in fourth. Todd Hayne there in fifth, though, so Todd and Adam hopefully teaming back up again tonight. Of course, last week Todd didn't really have the race we have been seeing him lately. It wasn't characteristic of him to be out of the field, and he ended up out very early in the race, unfortunately for him. But we have seen some vast improvements from both the Hayne boys. Can't wait to see how they go tonight, teaming up in the 650 from COTA, or the Circuit of the Americas as it's known. Norrie, just having a look at pit entry, pit exit. Entry seems to be quite good on this track. It's nice to come around there just before turn number 20. You can pull off to the inside. Shouldn't affect the racing line too much. But pit exit there, you're going to come out, and there's that sharp turn number 1 you can see coming up the hill.
Yeah, absolutely. You leave the pit lane and you're right there at the apex of turn number 1. So any of those coming down for a fast lap are going to need to not trip over the guys leaving the pit lane as they try and navigate that tight turn 1. But you're perfectly right about the pit entry. It's super easy to get offline and very easy to get in the pit lane.
Interesting to see, though, you come out of that turn 19, there's not a lot of room. So if you have a late entry in there, how the races behind will react, especially those top few who are watching the leader and deciding what they're going to do based on how they pull into the pits. It might give an opportunity for a little bit of games there as the race goes on, with 117 laps to do, and like we say, probably just over 20 laps to a tank. We're going to see a number of pit stops here tonight, and that could all play into effect. And then we've got to bring in, of course, the COTA Industries safety car. When will that come out? Will it come out? And how many times could it come out tonight? I'm assuming, guys, I'm going to put it out there. I reckon we're going to have at least one safety car tonight.
And one lap 1.
Yeah, I was on the same impression, lap 1, turn 1, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see maybe 3 here tonight. It's, I would say, plenty of runoff, but would definitely shake this up a fair bit.
Mate, it's an absolutely fantastic track to get around. I really like coming down the back sections. Once you come out of turn number 2, you go through 3, 4, 5. You really got to hang on to it, don't you? And just gingerly get on the accelerator there so you just don't spin the wheels. But what really gets me is the number of sharp left-handers here. So, you know, turn 11, turn 12, turn 16, even turn 20 and turn 1 to a degree, you know, like there's so many times where you've really got to get down through the gears and pull that car through. And it's those moments we see once the tyre degradation comes in, once a bit of tiredness comes in, especially after we've done 2 or 3 hours out there, that's when I reckon we'll see the mistakes a bit later on in the race. And we've seen it from some of our lead drivers, that slight mistake, pinch a brake, go off, and you can lose 2 or 3 positions because we're not spread out as much as we have been in these endurances in the past. The level of driving is a lot closer together now this season, and we have seen that at the end of the 300 and 650k races we've already had, where we're really, the last 5 laps are a sprint race between 4 or 5 cars.
Oh yeah, and it's that age-old thing of it's getting or buying your ticket to the end of the race, and you've got to be clean and consistent all the way through in order to do that. Now, the other thing we haven't really spoken too much about either, and we know that with the way this circuit is laid out, obviously very wide, it does give you the possibility of racking up some big incident points. And the incident limits tonight that the guys are really going to have to be cautious of at 60, 100, and 125. 60 and 100, you'll see some drive-throughs. Once you hit that 125, unfortunately, it's night done. So the guys are just going to have to be really cautious about that, because it doesn't take much around here just to run that car fraction wider than you think, or miss your brake marker just by a touch, which then throws you out for the corner exit to pick up a 1X or possibly a 4X if you do find contact with the car in front.
Did you say 4X? We're going to pick up a 4X.
Wow, unless it's on the wood.
Maybe if you're a Queenslander and you're the co-driver, maybe. Now, look, serious question tonight. Will Daiso's internet last?
Yes, I think it will. I think he's got the smoker cranked up as well, so he should be fine.
Got the generator running and the gas burner turned on for the smoker. All right, so if Daiso stays in it tonight, this could be interesting, because him and Brixie were a beautiful 4th last time. Remembering how well they did to come back and get second a number of weeks ago there, when we had the 650. Oh, sorry, they came back. They didn't get second. Sorry, they came in. Where did they come? They came 5th. That was a couple of rounds ago when we had our 650 at Suzuka. But after Daiso lost internet, Briggsy had to jump back in the car, get towed, wait, get out there, get Dyson back in the car, and they still manage to 5th place. So I reckon they're a bit of a dark horse here tonight, and maybe, just maybe, if the internet holds up and the smoker keeps them on track and energised, we could see a Dyson Briggs here tonight take the win.
Yeah, definitely not a team to discount out there. As we have a look at the track conditions at the moment, 18 degrees Celsius, 22 on track, so that'll be really nice for these guys. That'll be helping not only the grip levels, but increasing the fuel burn as well, because we know these cars go a lot quicker out there. The wind, only 3 kilometers an hour. We are very late in the afternoon. It's October 21st in sim. It's a couple of seconds to 5 o'clock and partially cloudy conditions. So it's going to be set up for a nice race for these guys, and really looking forward to seeing how they're going to run through, as we've got a couple or less than 20 seconds left on the clock for the guys to set qualifying time. We've still got a few guys having a run. To have a look here at Todd Hay in the Type N Esports car. This is not too bad a run for him. I don't think he's going to be necessarily able to improve. He was green in Sector 2, but just losing a little bit of time there in Sector 1 and 3.
Yeah, there's a few drivers just come out in their outlap. They're going to be very quick because qualifying has just ended. So you'll only be able to finish the lap you're on. So you hope you're on a flying one at the moment. And we'll have to wait and see as they go around. It looks like down the back section we still have our #1 driver there, of course, Corey Shepherd. Still opportunity to go a little bit faster. Sebastian now in the car. Obviously teamed up with Rick Kuznetsov. Andrew Dyson in 3rd. Looks like they're pretty happy with that one. They are done for qualifying. Let's have a look at Hayne, though, as he comes around. Of course, Todd Hayne in the car. He has been the quicker of the two at the moment. Completes the final corner, turn number 20, heads down the main straight and crosses the timers. Let's have a look at this one. Doesn't improve on the time, unfortunately, there. Does not go up. So we'll stay in 5th position there and be happy with that one. Still, that looks like Rob Bowden coming through. Can he move up position? Stays in 6th as well. Does not improve on his time, so he will be in 6th position there. Sean Thompson's still getting around on track at the moment. Let's hope he can get around. We'll wait and see whether he gets a time. Corey Shepherd goes a little bit faster there on the final lap, just to rub a bit of salt in the wound there for everyone else, a 2:04.48. Sebastian Tix here, though, and Rick Kuznetsov, look at that, 2:04.77. So they have got the setup in the car right on point tonight, the Premier Racing team. And I think, to see both their, 4 drivers basically all running in the 2:04s tonight, watch for them to be super quick out of the box tonight. It's just going to be where they can hold on with the stamina of 4 hours of racing tonight, 650 kilometres, 117 laps. Remembering we're 2 minutes and 4 in qualifying. We're probably going to be a 2:05 to a 2:06 when it comes to racing. A lot of really tight corners to concentrate on that braking points. It's going to be a big one tonight. I can't wait to see what happens here for AOSC11 race number 10 here from the Circuit of the Americas. 650 Ks tonight, all thanks to Jinx Shifters and RaceKraft Simulations. I'm Matty Kavanagh. Daniel Leet and Matthew Norris joining me for the race. Qualifying is done. Corey Shepherd up the top of the ranks, Dan. And how do you look, if we look down at where everyone is, who else has impressed tonight?
Look, I think the likes of Alex Vandershut sent it down there in 11th, relatively newcomer to the championship, but not that far off the pace, only 1.2 seconds down there in 11th position. Blake Delaney a little bit further down probably than where he likes to be. I think the other big one that, and we've seen have some very good races so far throughout the season, and I'm sure he's not going to be overly impressed with the qualifying, is Damian Johnson down in 12th position at the moment in the 0.33. They're a little bit further off the pace than probably what we're used to seeing from those guys, but the race pace, sorry, look for them to work their way through as this one unfolds.
Yeah, another couple of names to mention. Thomas Hinds didn't get a time down there. Obviously, he went out of track and didn't record a time, so wait for him to fight back through, because we know he's been quite successful when it comes to the endurance, but he's always around that top 10 mark. And Jamie Dyke from Fishy Motorsports lately has been pushing himself up the ranks, and he's in 7th at the start of the race. So we'll wait to see what happens there. Of course, all thanks to our shifters here at AOS, or thanks to our sponsor, I should say, our shifters. Jinx Shifters, of course, got on the mind, mate. Jinx Shifters, fantastic products, all the billet shifters, brake bias adjusters, everything you need. Go and see them at Jinx Shifters. Go and check them out on Facebook and, of course, all the social media. Also need to thank our other sponsors, of course, Insurance Services, COTA Industries, Race Circuit Art Australia, Simrigs.com, and Team 126 Racing. But we have a look at our final qualifying. There it is. Corey Shepherd up the front, Premier Racing Team, teamed up with Brian Borg tonight. Sebastian Tixia alongside, teamed up with Rick Kuznetsov. Then it goes to Dyson and Briggs. Jordan Ross and Tom Freer down to the Hayne brothers in 5th on the row number 3. Rob Bowden is in 6th position. Michael Whiting and Ken Latter will take up row number 4. Blake Delaney and Tom Freeman in row 5. Alex Van D in 11 with Damian Johnson alongside in 12, which we were talking about there. a little bit down there. That's Alex Vandersand in 11 on row number 6. We head to row number 7. We go to Sean Thompson and Nathan Moore will be on row number 7. Row number 8, Alex Court and Anthony Visma. Row number 9 will be Stephen Kokoschki and Matthew Monday. Then we go to row number 10 will be Thomas Hinn starting out. And I do believe we're going to have Sebastian Flock and Cameron Dance are in the server, and we should see them getting around. This is the way our safety car got a time in there, mate. Look, how busy is the safety car going to be tonight? We're going to see a few laps, and it would be embarrassing to see an error. So let's hopefully we don't see those from the safety car tonight, the COTA Industries safety car. We can see the beautiful scenes here going around the circuit of the Americas. It's a wonderful track here in Texas, USA. The cars are lined up, and we're about to go racing. Norrie, what's your final prediction?
We're going to see Borg and Shepard really show the field some things. Sebastian Trixie, because Netzoff are really going to impress. And Dyson's internet won't hold out.
Dyson's internet. Well, we're waiting for Kuznetsov. Interestingly enough, look where they've lined up to the left. That's very interesting as we look at them. They've all lined up a bit to the left of their start. So we'll have to wait to see what's happening. Waiting for the start to come. The lights will come up in just a second. It's a great view here, all thanks to Track Cams for Gourmets, of course, providing us with some additional camera views here for our coverage. Nick Hauser in our production studio getting through those tonight once again as we broadcast AOSC across YouTube and Facebook. Everyone's ready up. The lights are up. We're about to get underway with racing. Watch them up on screen. Final red light. Race is underway. And Brian Borg doesn't get away. You want to watch out for Briggsy behind him. He's made a little bit of room there. The cars are starting to go 2 wide as we head up, maybe 3 wide here. Rob Bowden around the outside, back in 5th position. Watch this one. Does Briggsy push out Tixia? We'll have to look. Tixia no, slots back into 2nd position. They all seem to be lining up again. Tom Freer starts this race in 4th position. Todd Hayne in 5th. Rob Bowden 6th. Michael Whiting 17th up, obviously with Jamie Dyke. They seem to have got single file. Oh, a little bit further out there for Michael Whiting. Goes a bit out into the rubble at the moment. Sean Lindsell in the seat there in position number 8. Tom Freeman in 9. Kyle Stokes has made a couple of positions there, up into 10th position. Dave Coleman there has gone back a couple. Nathan Moore up into 12th as we keep watching the race there. Brian Borg leading this race again and just pushing on. Todd Hayne has got around Rob Bowden as well. Nice move there and trying to get on the back of Tom Freer at the moment. You can see a little bit defensive there from Brian Borg, which is surprising considering teammate and this early in the race. But there's several ways you can take those sharp left-hand corners. There's a little bit of runoff there too, isn't there, Dan? If you've got to get out wide, a little bit of bitumen, although you are going to get some incident points for that.
Yeah, there definitely is a little bit of room there to move if you do make that little bit of a mistake, but you got to be cautious because, again, that is a 1X that you're going to pick up. So just about placement here, the tyres are still very cold. We're already seeing plenty of lockups from the guys under the brakes so far. So some quick adjustments they're going to have to make to try and settle these things down and just find their rhythm and start pressing on. At this stage, it's probably way too early to be battling, especially with your teammate and Borg and Tixie. Just going to need to settle themselves down a bit, get in formation and just start working away as we've got a car around in the background. Who's that? That's Sean Thompson, I believe, in the Mat 1 Esports car. He's gone around in a very tricky spot there, down off turn 12. He's able to recover that car and get it going again.
Yeah, that is good news that there is that runoff there, and when you go off in the grass, the bull's taking. I think maybe we're looking at Brian Borg and Sebastian Tixia being a little bit concerned about Adam Briggs there in the Simrigs Phoenix Smoker car, because they seem to be teaming up and just making sure they cover the entire track and not really give him a line where he can take a dive here. Knowing Briggs, though, he's very patient. He's very cool, calm and collective, and he will take his opportunity when the moment arises. Same with Tom Freer just sitting behind. Whether he wants to push on, he does show his nose a little bit there onto Briggsy. Tom Freer just gets in that inside mirror and says, hey, I'm here. Maybe looking for an opportunity to just push the guys in front a little bit. We did watch Sebastian Tixia there just lock the brakes up a little bit early. Like I say, those cold tyres, we'll have to watch for that one as they get around. It's only lap number 2 now of 117 here tonight. It's going to be an absolutely huge race. No need to apply too much pressure at the moment. Just need to stay in that top 10. Take yourself through to the final half of this race. Oh no, goes wide there for Briggs. Very, very wide. Gives a little bit of a door opening there to Tom Freer. Maybe he's going to take it. Todd Hayne catches up to Freer as well in the background, and right behind him you see Rob Bowden. So now you see Brian Borg and Sebastian Tixia, the Premier Racing team, just have that slight little gap now. Well, thanks to Briggs' slight little mistake, he might be able to make up for that one as they go nose to tail there from position 3 all the way back to position 6. Throw a tea towel over those guys. Don't even need a full-size adult stout. The tea towel will get over those 4 cars at the moment. see a little bit of a gap there back to Michael Whiting and Kyle Stokes, who look like they're in a little bit of a battle there. And just having a look to see where we've ended up with. Thomas Hinds has already made a position further back in position at number 19, so you can get a time there qualifying and move back a bit. I'm just trying to see where we have seen Damien Johnson. It looks like his teammate.
The 3-3 had a really good run, so that's Kyle Stokes teamed up with Johnson. He's up 5 spots from the getaway and finds himself now in 7th position, a little off the back of Rob Bowden there, but that's been a fantastic start for those guys, really making amends and clawing their way up towards the pointy end.
No, it always is, and Marty Hansen's got a pass on Alexander Van der Sand. Marty gets through there with a into position number 13, maybe 3 positions in the Type Fan Esports entry as well. Let's have a look at the it's a replay of the start now. Let's have a look at Kyle Stokes away. See here, the revs are coming up, gets away, really gets a nice jump, doesn't he, Dan? Look at this, pulls to the inside, puts himself in the best opportunity coming into turn number 1.
Yeah, he got a really nice jump away, splits the guys down the middle there, which is a tough place to be, but the drive was fantastic. He's got the ability to hold Delaney out on the outside there as they sweep down through the S's for the first time, but that was a nice clean getaway for him, and as we watch him up through the S's, I'm sure we're going to see him gaining a couple of more positions through here. As you can see the guys battling too wide, just trying to settle it in. Just be cautious of that little yellow sausage curb, that'll pick quite a few cars up as the night unfolds, so keep an eye on that. But there's a really controlled start for Kyle Stokes here. I think we're going to see he's going to make a big move coming up in towards turn 11 here. This will be a good opportunity for him to gain a couple of those spots back.
I really love this camera here. You can really see how much the track undulates, like goes up and down, doesn't it? But the rise we see and how much down we see, a bit of curve inside there too. They grab, so has to watch out there. And here's another move. He gets past number 15, Tom Freeman. It's a nice run down the inside. This corner up here though, and it's really who's going to break the latest, especially on these cold tyres. This was lap number 1, this replay, where we saw this. There's a tight left-hander here as well, and a moment there, managed to pull the car and get it turned all the way around those cold tyres. So that is a nice move there, and that ends up putting him behind Sean Lindsell here. And it looks like we've got something happening else. We go back live. We check out another replay here on board with Tixia. Oh, Borg's done a big lock up there. Briggs has gone through as we go and see Tixia has gone out wide, and then here we go. Ross tries to get around, and it doesn't look like they make contact there. It looks like a brake lock up at that point.
He's done it to himself. Too much gas and no grip.
Think about it, wasn't it? The cold tyres, early lack of grip, and there was no need to push so hard. It would have been better to maybe just let Briggs take that hard. Concerning is, though, that Brian Borg locked the brakes up there just before that too. So maybe the setup the Premier Racing team have might be good as the tyres start to wear. Maybe it's not so good for the start of this break.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky to say there, but that sort of incident that we saw there going on, that, you know, for Tixia at least anyway, he had the ability to pull out of that one, just find himself back in line, but yeah, you kind of lose a little bit of that perception. You can see the cars coming around you, and he's tried to do the right thing and just get back on the pedal and try and recover and get back into it, and unfortunately there for him, it didn't quite work out for him. So he's going to have a long night ahead of him now to try and claw his way back in. But you're right with what you're saying in regards to Brian Borg there. While the lockup of the brakes continues to go on, he has got to be cautious not to flat spot those tyres.
As you can see, we're just trying to catch up to our live coverage. A little bit of a software glitch in the background there, but we are working hard to try and rectify that for you on the AOSC broadcast. There we go. We are back live now. As you can see the footage coming through on the broadcast, and this is where they've ended up after this slight adjustment there with Tixia moving back in the field after that massive brake lock-up and then almost spinning out. Is Brian Borg leading, Adam Briggs behind, Tom Freer in third now. Todd Hayne not too far behind. He's got to watch out for Rob Bowden, who's in 5th position. Kyle Stokes in 6th position now, so he's made another one. Not quite in this top 5 pack, but not far away. He's just got past Michael Whiting, who moves back into 7th position. Sebastian Tixia now back to 8th position, so he's moved back quite a few there at the moment. Marty Hansen and Type Fan Esports still moving through the field up to position number 12 at the moment, up 4 positions. And he's just going past the party in the background there. You can see him up in the grandstands. They'll be cheering him on. Party Marty, we'll see how he goes tonight. Top 10 Esports have had a little bit of success lately, I suppose. They're up a few positions there, hovering around that top 10 recently. So hopefully they've got the setup in the car tonight and they can bring that one home for some points. Another one we need to look at, Thomas Hins now back in 17th position. So just the Henry James Racing crew just making up the takeover. Remembering they did not get a time down in qualifying, so they did come up the back there and quite a bit of work to do at the end. Now just goes on to position number 9. Freeman, just takes that position. So position number 9, Tom Freeman just passed Sean Winslow in the alcohol entry. As you can see here, just in front, Tom Freeman had that move done, so head back down the back. Through the big S's there, just holds on to it. You do have to watch out for that sausage curbing, don't you, Dan? Lift the wheel up too much and it just means it offsets the car for the run into the next corner and you overshoot. We see a little bit of an overshoot there, just doesn't quite get the car in the right position.
Well, yeah, it does unsettle the car massively there. They're very sharp curves, obviously designed for Formula One to stop the guys going out and abusing the track limits. But in a supercar, especially when you've got the front of these cars bound as tight as we generally see them in the setups now, any little incident where you get up and above on those sausage curves is going to throw the car well out sideways, and that just opens you up, if you don't lose it, to further on attack from the guys behind you. So it's all about placement, it's all about consistency, trying to work your way through. You get back a little further in the field. We've got Hins and Coleman having a battle here. Actually, it's Alex Court just ahead of these guys. So we'll see whether Hins is able to send one down the inside. He's already gained 4 spots from where he started tonight in the Henry James Racing entry. He's going to run it just a little wide. Doesn't quite get the brakes pulled up on that car, but he is working his way nicely up through the field, along with another lot of guys working their way smoothly through the field as well. Cam Dance just behind Nathan Moore and who's that? Marty Hansen, who are scrapping there, and he's picked his way nicely through the field, up 8 spots, soon, well, down to be 9 spots up from the back of the field tonight. So it's been a great showing for these guys, and we've already seen earlier in this championship event, especially at Suzuka, they were very good in that car and were able to really work their way up through the field.
There's a great little battle going on here at the moment as they battle out for 12th position just in front. Alex van der Sande there, you can see the number 74, he pushed his way through, didn't make any panel damage, no rubber panels, but got his way through there, and now you can see Marty Hansen and Cameron Dance are going to keep that fight going on behind. It looks like Alex van der Sande has just opened up the gap a little as I head up this hill. Very deceiving, isn't it, when you come with that turn number 1, you come up the hill and your braking mark is very different to the other tight corners we see here on the circuit, because that really does slow the car down.
Yes and no. It's a bit deceiving in a way. You're braking probably a lot earlier than traditionally you would expect to around there, especially using the risers. We watch Marty Hansen getting that Cam Dance getting that car up on the 2 wheels there. But you've got to brake much earlier than you expect, because as you get partway up almost to the tipping point to turn 1, you get a little bit of road undulation there. It really unsettles the car, throws it out wide, and you struggle to get the nose of the thing back in on and turn in. So it is very deceiving. We will see still plenty of opportunities for a pass to go down there, because it is a great spot to get the nose in, and there's almost about 5 lines that you can take through that section of the circuit in order to make it work. So look for the guys on the restarts especially to maybe throw a few interesting opportunities and passes as they work their way through the field, but we'll wait and see. But as we saw from Cam Dance, they're going down through the S's, finding those little yellow sausage curves on the outside there, the little triangles, really unsettled the car hugely. He was able to get it back under control without too much of a pace loss, but it's not something you're going to want to continue to do throughout the course of the night.
No, definitely won't want to do that, and really need to look after the car at this point. You don't want to unsettle it there, especially when you got someone behind you and then possibly could make contact when they try and get through. So probably best to try and stay out of trouble. Of course, we are only on lap number 5 at the moment. We're about to go into lap number 6 for... we have completed 5 laps. We're on lap number 6 and about to go into lap number 7 for our front runners, Brian Borg in the lead with Adam Briggs and Tom Freer in 2nd and 3rd. So our top 5, still nothing in it, and you can see a bit of a move here now from Adam Briggs. He's decided to show the nose in that left-hand mirror there, and Borg very, very quick to be defensive there. And he needs to watch out, though, because while he's doing that, losing a lot of pace, Briggs just misses his... It's almost like he missed his braking marker there, like you said, and it's a little bit out there trying to make the move there happen, and lose a little bit of ground back to Tom Freer. And in the background, you can see Todd Hayne not far behind as well in 4th position. Just opening up a little bit of a gap on Rob Bowden now. So it really seems to be our top 4 fighting out of Rob Bowden, just backing off the pace a little bit. Having a look at some of the times, so last lap out there, Brian Borg at 206.97, Adam Briggs at 206.95, a 206.94 for Tom Freer, and a 206.63 it was for Todd Hayne. So he has actually done a little bit faster than those in front of him. So it's an interesting battle at the top. Keeping in mind, Brian Borg's going to get out at some stage and let Corey Shepherd. Now, we know how fast he is, the young gun, how quick he can go in these cars. We saw him in the Supercar E-Series. We'll see what he does here in the AOSC. Andrew Dyson, though, is probably a match for him in Jordan Ross. So we'll wait and see how that happens in the top 3 when they do the driver change as well. That could change things up, spice it up a little.
It will definitely, and we'll see that obviously unfold when the drivers get around for the second stint. Interestingly, you know, the pace compared to what we saw in qualifying, we did expect it was going to fall away a little bit there. And as you say, the guys back down in the 206s at the moment, almost venturing into the 207. So just trying to conserve the tyres, the car, and work everything all the way back through there. So it's a long time for them still left in this stint, at least anyway. And watch them run through the big double right apex through here. It's a good run from Borg. He's actually able to extend a little bit of an advantage. We'll see how that plays out for him later on. But if you have a look at the times down the bottom of the screen, you can just see how much quicker Briggs has been. He's been able to consistently take between half to 2/10 of a second out of Brian Borg there. So the draft, again, is going to be massive here. And if they're able to save a little bit of that, that will definitely play into him. But for Briggs here, he's just got to be consistent and cautious here about where he wants to make that move. He's already worked out the run up into turn 1. Going wide at this point doesn't quite work yet, but later on, it's going to be a good opportunity for him.
Nora, do you see any advantage at this point staying in 2nd or 3rd position and just using that draft to conserve a little bit of fuel so you can just change your fuel strategy a little bit later in the race?
Almost took the words right out of my mouth there, Matty. It's exactly what I would be doing. Is Dyson's got the right, Briggs has got the right, it's Dyson's car. Briggs has got the right idea, staying behind Borgie there, and Borg, he might want to pull over and let him through. Conserving fuel at this point is a massive achievement because you're going to need to finish this race, and you're going to need to do it with the least amount of fuel stops if you can.
Yeah, probably gives an opportunity just to do those couple of extra laps, depending on how your tyres are going at the moment. And maybe that short stop right at the end, and that's where it's really going to come down to. If we see a safety car later on, your final stop can be, you know, a second shorter. That might be the difference between 3rd and 1st. You can see Tom Freer not too far behind. Rob Bowden just catching up to this pack in the background. He is in the tanked SRT entry and doing a nice job tonight. We'll see how the number 10 goes. They go on. Kyle Stokes and Michael Whiting back in 6 and 7, having a little bit of a battle. You can see just coming to the screen there in the background there. But the Phoenix Smokers car, it's Andrew Dyson's car, but it's his teammate Adam Briggs on board. Of course, simrigs.com sponsoring that team as well. Can't wait to see how they end up with tonight. David Kim in the Pursuit Sim Racing back in position number 19 at the moment. Up 2 positions. Did not get a time there in qualifying, so has had to go back a little bit. Just gets another position there now, up in position number 18. Goes past David Coleman, of course, from the Fishing Motorsports entry. Matthew Munday in the Fishing Motorsports back in 20. And 21 is Matthew Brunt from Synergy Sim Racing.
Who's that having a moment?
That's Dave Coleman.
Coleman.
Yeah, drops a wheel out in the grass. And yeah, once you do that, under brakes, good luck.
Yeah, it looks like he's been able to keep it off the wall, however, so he should be able to get going again and back underway. But that's not the kind of moment you want to have, and very reminiscent of what we saw earlier on for Sean Thompson there. So just getting out of turn 13, puts the power down, hits a little bit of that rumble strip, round she goes, a bit of a tank slapper for him, and he's able to get it going. So it's not going to help the tyres too much. Just give the wall a bit of a nudge just for good measure there as well. So he gets it back underway, and he is up and running. So we'll see how much that has impacted him, but he's looking to work his way back through as we just have a couple little glitches with the replays here at the moment. We're just working our way back up through to live pitches again. We watch the guys just quickly zig down through the S's. That's a great way to watch them work their way down.
It's quick as I've seen them go all night. Quicker than qualifying.
I think they're holding back. They should do that all the time.
Of course, we are on lap number 9 at the moment. As we go around the probably about halfway through the lap. There won't be probably turn on to lap number 10, but only 8 laps completed of this 117 lap race. Already 18 minutes in of approximately about 4 hours tonight. Brian Borg leading the race at the moment, as he has done from the start. He qualified number 1 with Corey Shepherd. Adam Briggs has won. He's made a position there. It's really Sebastian Tixier there, who had the mistake a little bit earlier, was in number 2 and has gone back to position number 8 now. Hasn't really made any more positions back from where he ended up. He had a moment under brakes there on about lap number 3 it was, I think. It started lap number 3, and then he came out of there and lost control coming out of one of the corners as well. Matt was not hitting anyone though, and went back to position number 8 now. He's caught up to Michael Whiting. So just let them come through there. He's with Rick Kuznetsov, who's been very quick when it comes to qualifying here around the Circuit of America, and like I say, on the podium in the last 2 races in AOSC. So wait to see when Rick Kuznetsov gets in there. What sort of strategy they want to play to try and make that time back up. They think they can short stop them on the fuel stops, get a little bit early maybe, grab an advantage there, but let Rick Kuznetsov just get back in the seat, I think, later and maybe put a charge on them. So Tixie needs to keep cool, calm head at the moment. Slowly all that time back, make up a couple of positions. You can see they're not too far behind. The back of Rob Bowden goes around the corner off in the distance just before. In front of him now you got Michael Whiting from Mission Motorsports entry just in front of him. Kyle Stokes in position number 6 in the Silverstone racing.
Whiting's car looks like it has better drive traction off the corner. It just seems like it sticks better to the road and drives off.
Look at the amount of curve they used by Kyle Stokes, really getting the car up on 2 wheels.
Using all the lines, making sure that both mirrors are occupied with the front of Sebastian Trixie's car.
Yeah, it certainly is. Head down this back straight though, they get a little bit of a rub there. You've got to be really careful coming around this left-hand corner under full acceleration. Really lightens the car. Here we go, under brakes, going to have a big dive here in this moment down. Looks like turn number 11. Looks like he might get that done. There's no. Michael Whiting stays on the outside there. We'll get the run. That's a risk you take. You lose all that drive coming down. And in that time, the Premier Racing Team teammate of Tom Freeman has made up that gap, and he's now joined on the back of this little exchange, I think, that's going to go on between Michael Whiting, Sebastian Tixier, and Tom Freeman for that position at number 7. Has another look on the inside. Can't get it done under brakes there either, and it just looks like Michael Whiting just holding onto the line at the moment, and that's proving advantageous. The car gets a little bit more drive out of the corners, and he can just drive away, give himself a reprieve for a couple more corners. See now Sebastian Tixier there. He's got to watch out teammate Tom Freeman. Hopefully he's got a little bit of patience there. That's really what we want to do is make sure he's just got a little bit of patience, doesn't want to get in a stoush with his teammate. Brian Borg still leading us at the moment. Adam Briggs in 2nd, Tom Freer 3rd, Todd Hayne in 4th, Rob Bowden 5th, Kyle Stokes in 6th, Michael Whiting 7th, Sebastian Tixier 8th, Tom Freeman 9th, and Sean Lindsell rounds out our top 10 here tonight. AOSC11, all thanks to Jinx Shifters and RaceKraft Simulations. We've completed 10 laps now. We're on lap number 11 here, and it is round number 10 from the Circuit of the Americas here for season number 11.
Thomas Hin's starting to look very racy as he works his way up to turn 1 there. You've got Marty Hansen just ahead, Taipan Esports entry against Henry James Racing. Down the hill, both cars very evenly matched at the moment, but so Hin's up 5 spots so far, working his way nicely through the field as he gets very racy up in through the S's there. Thinks about a run, not quite close enough to do, just picks up that curb on the inside. You can see how that just threw him off at the back end there, so he's going to lose a little bit of position, have to claw his way back on to the bumper there, but he is looking to be one to keep an eye on as this one unfolds. As he works his way through these cars ahead, he's maintaining some very good pace.
So our top 5, they've still stayed a little pack out the front, so we'll have to see how they go. Just holding on to their position at the moment. Doesn't really want to try and push too hard. Oh, out wide there though, Thomas Hinton might get the move done here as it's Marty Hansen there under brakes, just goes wide, locks it up. Very easy to do around here. We've seen quite a little bit already. Taipan Esports entry.
Yeah, I was going to say, surprisingly for Marty there, he was able to get the drive back out of that corner and hold position down in towards the brake zone. As we have a look further up the field, as you see that move for Hins gets completed, but he goes off track, so that's not going to help his cause there. There was a huge lock-up for the cars just ahead. I'm just trying to see who was involved. I think it was Nathan Moore with a big lock up there. So that's hurting those tyres as we duck back to watch the conclusion of Hins on Hansen. He gets that move done, gains himself up another spot into 15th. As we drop back here to the Fishy Motorsports entries, well down on where those guys would like to be tonight for both Matt Munday and David Coleman. They're down in 19th and 20th respectively. And Matthew Brunt having a bit of an awkward night there tonight. He's coming back into contention with these guys. So what's happened to the 134? They've dropped 4 spots over the course of the run tonight. The pace not quite there for those guys.
Maybe just missed the setup here tonight. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. They'll make up some positions later on in the race. We head back to Scott Hayne, who's sitting in 4th position, 4th, 3 there, and just seeing like the top 5 now evenly spaced out, reasonably evenly spaced out there in the top 5. And I'm just wondering where they are getting very comfortable there for Briggs, Freer, Hayne and Bowden, and just seeing these laps out, like you say, just staying in it till the final quarter of the race, I suppose, do you really need to make that difference? Because at the moment, the lap times are slowly dropping too, Dan. They're getting in the high 207s now, so we're losing a couple of tenths a second, and that could be tyre wear. What are your thoughts, Norrie?
Yeah, well, we're only 12 laps in, but tyre wear will be starting to degrade. Now, the track temp should be lowering at this moment because we are actually heading into the night, so it's going to get dark and cold, and the track temp should come to the tyres, but at the moment they'll be burning.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how that changes their first stint, whether they'll go a shorter stint at the start there and maybe hope on longer stints at the end with the cooler weather and the tyre wear, or whether they're still going to try and push into those mid-20s there in the first stint for this driver to try and knock out as many laps as possible for that opening driver to complete the minimum amount required.
You watch these guys now just work their way through that middle section. You just see for Nathan Moore, those tyres are almost shot on that car. He's going to need to start really thinking about the roll changes if he's still got some left at the back there. He is starting to struggle to get the power down and keep both Vanderson and Cam Dance behind. So could be a potential here for a couple of positions to be lost. Cam Dance just nibbling around the back here. He hasn't really moved too far up past these guys. He's already moved up 9 spots since the start of the race, but he's just settled into a rhythm, just starting to apply the pressure on the back of Vanderson and Nathan Moore here. So will we see him work his way through in the next couple of laps? I'd like to think so.
Yeah, well, previously didn't he got his way through there. Just made a mistake. Michelle Dance puts a nose in here. Another mistake there. He goes wide there for Vanderson. It was in a similar situation last time from memory. It might have been in the same corner where he just outbraked himself, missed the braking markers and went wide. So gives Nathan Moore an opportunity to just streak away there and open up the gap. Cameron Danso follows him through, and now he's got a bit of work for Vanderson to get himself back in that position where he previously was. Cameron Dance now up 10 positions after starting out of position number 22 tonight. So it's good to see him having a great night behind the wheel and really improving. So great livery on the car too. I've got to put it out there. It's good to see some new liveries in the field here tonight. Another one for Matthew Brunt, who got past Matthew Monday down the back there. So Brunt now moves up to position 20 past Matthew Monday. Fishy Motorsports in 21.
We've got Moore just ducking to the side. I think he's going to open the door here for Dance to get down, because that's a very early run to try and be defensive on the run into 12 there. That's not going to work too well for him. Dance just slides the nose of that car through. We'll see whether he's able to get it completed here as they work their way into corner entry. Moore's not going to give up on it, but Dance, with the pace that we've seen from that car already tonight, should be able to work his way through as we duck back onto the suspension cam just to watch the guys work through here. This will be a really telling shot just to see how good these cars are moving around.
And you see the way the Vanderson got his nose in there the minute that move was almost on, he was going to buy into that battle as well.
Well, there's no reason he shouldn't. He definitely has the pace. A couple of minor mistakes there, but really he was in front of these two before, and he had the pace there. So hopefully he can just recoup and maybe get that done again. Maybe there's a good chance now if he actually backs Dance, see if they can work as a team to get past Vanderson. Maybe that's how they'll look at this one. Of course, you've got to remember Thomas Hins just in the background there, and He'll be looking to come through as well. Here we go. Tom Freer looks like he's all over the back of Adam Briggs now. Will Tom Freer decide, hey, I want to take P2 because Brian Borg's just opened up a little bit of a gap out in front now. It's just over 1 second. I'll have to wait. Todd Hayne just in the background as well, Dan.
Well, he is. Todd's having a really strong run here. The pace has not fallen away in the Taipan Esports entry. He is hanging on to these guys very nicely as well. So look for him to continue working on. I'm surprised for Briggs though. It looks like through that opening sector of the lap there, the car's not really working for him. So that could be again tyre degradation starting to come into condition there. He was a fair bit slower. It was about 0.3 slower than what we saw from Adam Briggs. So he did a 2:07.1 comparative to Borg there on a 2:06.8, and similarly for Freer, 2:06.8 for him as well. So the guys are definitely coming back. Keep an eye here on Hayne down the back there. He's going to stick the nose out. It's a good look. Not going to be able to quite pull it up on the run into 12.
Well, Adam Briggs had a little bit of a look over Borgie as well. So I reckon he's made a mistake in that previous lap, and we just haven't seen it on the coverage because he's also pulled off a great sector too as well for Adam Briggs. Just to come back a little bit on this lap, be very interested to see the lap times this time around. And Tom Freer just keeps it a little bit tighter there after Todd Hayne showed his intentions, I would say. Here we go. We go back to this little battle here for 11th position there, and Nathan Moore on the inside. Dance has a go around the outside. It's the right-hander though. But a nice run here as they go through the left on the inside now. Dance might get this done and hold on to it. Just in the background though, Van der Sande, what is he going to do? Is he going to put his nose into this fight? Is he going to let these two just sort themselves out first?
Van der Sande's in really good striking position here. If he was able to follow through Dance there, he was looking at picking up an extra spot. Will we see him in the final corner have a dive? He's not going to do it, but Moore is having to go very, very defensive. And just have a look at who's ducked into this battle as well, just in behind. We've now got Thomas Hinds back into this scrap as well. So it's really starting to come alive between these guys a little further down the order, but not letting anything go. Hinds potentially going to go 3 wide here. He can pick up 2 spots on the run into to turn 1 there. Just pulls in behind Van der Sande and should get this move done as they head towards the S's.
Oh, he just tries to go back in there for Nathan Moore. He didn't know Hinds was there. He sort of come from a little bit further back there and caught up to them very quickly. And I think it's a good move there from Van der Sande, knowing that Hinds was on the move. He had to get that pass done, otherwise Hinds was going to really get into this fight. And just more of an opportunity for him to get past 2 positions in one shot. But we'll just let them settle back into their racing and see how they end up with this one. But the teammates, Sebastian Tixon and Tom Freeman now in position number 8 and 9. Doesn't look like they've been able to make an impression there though on Michael Whiting, who's just in front of the Fishing Motorsport, entry number 80. Here we go. He's looking at Adam Briggs for the lead over Brian Borg. Borg is moving all over the track, and that is going to cost him some serious time.
Yeah, you have to be cautious with the amount of moving in the brake zone that he's doing, because he went very defensive there on Briggs there and then cut it all the way back to racing entry. So he's moving around a lot. That's going to definitely be upsetting Briggs in behind there. But it will be a good opportunity here then also for Freer and Hayne. If something does happen, and fingers crossed it doesn't, they could be lucky beneficiaries there and maybe pick up 1, if not 2 spots.
Briggs is a very smart racer, and we know, although Brian Borg, plenty of laps on the board, very experienced when it comes here to the iRacing, Briggs just applying that pressure and maybe just hoping there's a little mistake there from Borg. He did see the brake lock up earlier in the race on lap number 2 or 3 it was. So maybe just applying that pressure now and seeing if he just makes an error, to give him his opportunity to make his passing manoeuvre. You see he has to cut the corner a little bit short there for Brian Borg. Takes a slightly different approach to the corner there, and it looks like Briggs will get a nice run out of that one. The Simrigs DPR Phoenix Smokers entry. Just opened up a tiny little gap back to 3 and 4 there between Freer and Hayne. Not really too much in it. Now just having a look at the last lap times though, a 2:07.7 from Borg and a 2:07.7 from Borg and a 7.4 from Adam Briggs. So, you know, this stoush they're having now is actually slowing them down when it comes to lap times.
Well, it is, and I was just thinking to myself, I'm wondering how much of a beneficiary is it going to be for Borg here to stay out front. We know Briggs is very quick in this car. Might be a good opportunity. Just fall in behind, take a bit of a breather, cool the tyres down, just collect yourself, and then go again. We're still 101 laps from the conclusion of this race, and at lap 16 to potentially lose it, That is not going to be what you want, especially in the championship hunt that these guys are in.
Keeping in mind your teammate is Corey Shepherd too, who's super fast. So Kyle Stokes getting moved down there. Sebastian Tixia dives down the inside. And he's followed Michael Whiting through as well. So there's something that's happened with the Kyle Stokes car while they've dropped off the pace, maybe with an error there. We've gone through in the meantime. Sean Lindsell's gone past Tom Freeman as well. Now the Premier Racing Team cars are on the inside. They've got to run down the inside. They team up a little bit here. They go through. Will Stokes get the move back? Looks like he does on Tixia though. Tixia though crisscross down the inside. They cross again. What a battle here in the background too. Sean Lindsell and Tom Freeman, they're doing the same. I really want to hear crisscross in the background really now. We just need Nick to have that music playing in the background, don't we? Not.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's copyright free, but it's definitely what is going on in MP3 players around the world.
Oh, here we go. Just out in front though. It looks like Sebastian Tixia holding on at the moment though. Kyle Stokes looking to make that move back. I'm going to say Tom Freeman. I think he has that move done on Sean Lindsell at the moment. Kyle Stokes looking like he's just getting settled in that position at the moment to take another strike when he gets the opportunity. Here we go. Brian Borg still leading this one, but again, really tight. There goes wide, slides the car a little bit, and that gives Briggs a nice little run. Once again in the mid 207s for both of them.
Yeah, Briggs getting a very good run there up into turn one. You see how defensive Borg is really starting to be now, which, as you say, just going to start compromising more and more as this run goes on. And if Briggs can just get that car hooked up, which he's not that far from having done, he'll get this move done and dusted, and then we would expect to see him actually move off into a little bit of clear air as they sort themselves out. But Borg, it looks pretty clear cut here that the tyres are very, very second hand and not really giving him the run that he needs going forward.
Can't help with the amount of pressure he's putting on the brake too on those tyres. Really coming in quite with all that pressure on the front right-hand tyre there. So here we go. Briggs right under the rear wing now. Is he going to take a move down here? Has a look. Has he got the draft to make this happen? Maybe Brian Borg's decided it is time to give this up. I don't think so. That's not Borgie's way. He is going to fight all the way to stay in the lead of this race to bring that car in P1 for Corey Shepherd when they do the driver change. I think we're still a few laps off, but Norrie, would you consider the amount of additional fuel burn here? Is it, and considering Corey Shepherd how quick he can be, would it be better for Shepherd to come out now and try and conserve the fuel if they have to come in early and just try and conserve that fuel to get themselves back to a very similar fuel strategy?
Not yet. No disrespect to Brian Borg. He's a fantastic driver and a great defender, as you can see on track now. He's really holding his own. But he is the driver you do want to get his laps out of the way first. And once you're at that 77 point, that's when you want to throw Corey in. Corey is super quick, and he will be able to get this car further up the field. But Brian needs to get his laps done.
Well, a couple of things happening in the background here by the looks of it. Sebastian Tixia and Alex Van der Sande looks like they may have made contact while we were watching the battle up front. We'll head back to a replay here, though, and check this one out.
This has got Sebastian Tixia involved in it. We've got Tom Freeman in there. And let's have a look up into turn 12 there. Just loses the rear all on his own. And that drops him 4 spots there. And a lot of work for him to do. You got to wonder for Sebastian Tixia what could have been. We saw him have that moment earlier on that took him out of second place, and it just seems to be going from bad to worse for him as this stint continues to close through. As you have a look back here, the 7-4 just having a moment. That's Alex Van der Sande down into 12 there, just looping that car around. Good avoidance not to pick up the car in front of him though.
Yeah, well, we haven't seen a safety car yet, and there's been quite a few moments so far in this race. Let's have a look at Sebastian Tixia. Another moment looks like he's had. Maybe missed the braking markers there. We've seen the back brakes lock up quite a bit. Slides the car around turn number 1 this time on the background. So I think I may well and truly be done on that car as we head back now to Alex Court, the After Dark Sim Racing entry. Tyres starting to wear, Norrie.
Tyres are starting to wear, but that's one of the hallmarks of COTA and having these massive runoffs. They're able to have a spin, gather it back up, pull a gear, and drive away. There's no interest.
Probably very lucky, I think, there's been no one around. You see Brian Borg just has a little bit of a gap now over Briggsy. And Tom Free and Todd Hayne right on the back of him now. Have to wait and see what happens. So Kyle Stokes now leading this little battle, which is for position number 7. Tom Freeman behind him from the Premier Racing team. See the big RaceKraft Simulations sticking down the side and gets a nice run out of that corner there. And just behind them, Sean Lindsell now. Just looking for an opportunity maybe to put the nose in there and take advantage of Tom Freeman being held up a little bit possibly by Kyle Stokes.
Yeah, Stokes doing a good job though. We saw the start of the race, just how cleanly he was able to get that car away and work his way through the field, and he's continuing that on as we go from one Synergy car up to another. Tom Freer has managed to still retain 3rd position. Haynes had a big look at him there, got very, very sideways, and just for his trouble, he's now lost his position to Rob Bowden. So the Tanked SRT crew move up into 4th position. 2 spots gained so far over the run tonight, quite achievers. And I mean, Tank have been one of the teams that we've seen over the past couple of seasons that have gone from sort of that mid to back of the field pack right up towards the front now and really starting to challenge for the race wins.
Hey, we haven't spoken about him too much, have we, Rob Bowden? But he's just been sitting back there patiently in 5th position, probably playing the long game there, and that opportunity came up. And look at him now, Tom Freer. Has he just been sitting in the background conserving fuel and looking after those tyres? Because looks like now he's taking these opportunities when they arise, and he could make himself another position. He needs to watch out because Todd Hayne is quite quick. But in the meantime, Brian Borg and Adam Briggs go apart. Here we go. They're nearly 2 wide at the front. How's the run going to be down as we go down to turn number 11? Waiting to see if they can pull this one up. What's it going to be? Oh, a little bit of a nudge. Briggsy trying to get the run out of there, and Brian Borg just not quite as fast. Covers it off, make sure that Briggs takes it fast.
Yeah, you're really starting to get a clear indication of just how much going defensive for Brian at the moment is really compromising his runs out of the corner. Briggs is getting fantastic opportunities to send one up the inside. Borg doing a phenomenal job to hold him off, but you've got to start to wonder how much longer will these tyres continue to work for him, because he is starting to struggle. Briggs is setting up for a big move here. He's very quick under brakes as they work down through the second to last corner up into the final corner here. I think the run up into turn 1 is going to be critical for Briggs if he wants to get this move done now. It's a nice exit. He's able to get into the draft. So let's have a look at this one.
With the cars spaced out, Norrie, is there any advantage in Adam Briggs and Andrew Dyson maybe looking for the undercut to come in for the earlier pit stop?
I don't think they're going to need it. I think they're going to get past Briggs in a matter of 2, 3... Okay, I maybe counted that one in a bit early, but I imagine they'll get past Briggs. It'll be, Briggs will get past Borg. It'll be up to Borg to do the undercut.
Yeah, really pressuring those tyres at the moment. It's going to be interesting to see if he can hold on.
About 2 laps before we might see them in for fuel, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, very close to the first pit stop, the expected pit stop that is, in the early 20s somewhere there. Rob Bowden still holding out Todd Hayne though, he's back in 5th position. Rob Bowden with the Tank SRT entry in 4th, and Tom Freer just spread himself out a little bit, give himself a little bit of breathing room there in 3rd position and holding on in the Synergy Sim Racing entry, teamed up of course with Jordan Ross here tonight. Jordan Ross currently sitting 3rd in the championship, so he's had a good run so far. Tom Freer back in 8th, so they're a formidable force when they team up, especially in the Enduros. Just need a little bit of luck sometimes to go your way when it comes to safety cars, and that can be the difference between being back down in the 10 or right up at the front. Here we go. Briggs has a little bit of a look on the inside in the 72, but it's not going to be. Under brakes, pulls the car up nicely. Brian Borg this time not having to be as defensive, which means he can just steer around that corner.
Yeah, Briggs is not letting him get away though. He's going to stick right on the bumper, and this will be a good opportunity for him to have a run here if he can just get the corner exit that little bit quicker and set up for the run. We'll see how he goes out through the double right-hander here. You've already seen him look very, very racy, and a couple of little wiggles continuing for Borg there as he fires it through. And again, just starting to struggle. He's not able to keep that car right up on the apex as they work through, but it's enough to keep him through there. And Briggs got to be thinking about maybe coming through for the undercut. We've noticed Dyson's ducked away from the YouTube chat. Wouldn't mind betting that these guys are really starting to nut out the strategy now.
They'll be looking, I think. They'll definitely have to have a think about that one. Do they get in early? It's worth having to think about. If you've got someone there, you co-drive and do the calculations, why not take advantage of that?
there's only so many times that they can have Brian Ball go defensive down to turn 1 and not get past. They need to look at the strategy options and really consider it.
Yeah, but like you say, they're coming up to that first pit stop strategy. Maybe the better strategy is there. If they've been conserving fuel behind, maybe they can just drop a slightly shorter fuel calculation in there for the next one and maybe coming out in front. And saying that,
Absolutely.
I think Shepherd, very fast, you're going to be under attack pretty quick.
Yeah, I think the problem though, if you are saving fuel at this point in time, you want to be the first to dive in and get that stop done. Take the shorter stop sooner. Take the benefit of the long rubber, because by the time Shepherd gets into the car, and we know how quick he's going to be on full rubber, on full tanks, fresh rubber, you don't want to be the car that's left out there on low fuel and old tyres, because you're just going to fall further back.
Something's happened to Adam Briggs. You can see he's dropped right off the back of Brian Borg. He couldn't split them apart before. Now Tom Freer's getting to run down the inside and has the move. Rob Bowden now looks like he's going to have a move as well. So he's got a slow down is what we're hearing.
Yeah, there was a moment going through the S's there where I think he picked up one of those yellow curbs again, and that really unsettled the car. And he has dropped behind. Bowden, though, loses a spot just in the background there. He'll settle back into 5th position. Tom Freer, Norrie, your mate, up there now in 2nd. Good run from him so far.
Yeah, Tom has had a massive run this race. He's obviously moved up over Briggs and really stepped up. Be interested to see if Adam's got word that Dyson's internet passed out and he will have to do another 20 laps after this pit stop cycle. But yeah, Tom Freer into P2, and we've got first pitter, Todd Hayne.
Interesting. Todd Hayne's got to get out of this little battle pack and maybe get some free air for himself. I'm assuming brother Adam Hayne will be able to get in behind the wheel of Type An Esports number 67. We'll see what everyone else decides to do out of that. But it's going to be up to Adam Briggs and what they do. Especially hitting that curve, making that tiny mistake. And Tom Freer, what a position to put himself in. And we're used to Tom Freer being quite aggressive. And, you know, we've spoken to him previously in season number 10 where we said, you know, are you just going to sit there and wait for your opportunistic moment? He goes, no, I'm going to go for it. Well, maybe things have changed a little bit there, because I know he hasn't quite had the pace to overtake, but he was right there when it counted, really. And that's how he's got that move done on Adam Briggs.
Yeah, the interesting thing now that we're getting some guys coming down the lane, get those pit stops completed, it's going to give us a real good look at just not only how long are the pit stop times expected to be, how long is the transit time that the guys are going to have to contend with. So for Hayne, he's still in the lane. He's been in there for 40 plus seconds at the moment, 41.7 before he's dropped in away. And it's going to be well over a minute 13 to get through and out. So that's a very long stop for these guys. You can see he's dropped him right down from 4th position down into 17th. But he has got the benefit of some fresh boots, and he'll be able to make a little bit of inroad on the guys in front.
Coming out in good position as well, I think, because being back in his 17th position, he has just a little bit of free air. Not so many people in front of him for a while, so you'd hope that maybe he won't catch them up until it's their turn to come into the pits. And just give that nice free run. As we have a look here, Sean Lindsay on the back. Kyle Stokes grabs a break there and locks that one up. In the background here, they're too wide though. Van der Sande with Thomas Hinds, is that? Oh no, it's Moore, sorry. Moore alongside Nathan Moore in the Premier Racing Team. Ducks down the inside, Van der Sande on the outside. They stay too wide. They're going to keep this battle going though through the right-hander. So they head around. Van der Sande takes over 11th position at the moment as they head down there in turn number 15, 16 is that, as they go around over the right-hander. Sean Lindsay just in front, a couple of positions there. As you can see on screen, position number 8, and he has Cameron Dance right under the rear wing of that car at the moment, and look out behind though, because Thomas Hinds, every opportunity he can just to catch up, and he's had a little bit of luck when it comes to catching up to cars. It's just cars in front have got themselves caught in a little bit of a battle, and he's managed to make reasonably easy overtaking manoeuvres there. It looks like Dance goes down the inside, has a look on Lindsay, doesn't manage to get that done, does he? Side by side, Lindsay on the inside.
Yeah, you're doing a really good job. I've got to say, both Dance and Thomas Hinds here have been the standout drivers so far tonight. You see him, he forces his way through there. There wasn't a contact, but there's going to be a slowdown for Lindsay in shortcutting that chicane there. But I mean, I've got to say, for Dance and Hint, they have picked their way through the field beautifully to claw their way up the field.
That slowdown really doesn't help Thomas Hinds out in that instance, because that slowdown and Hinds being so close to Dance, there's no way you're going to hold him out. So big advantage there to Hinds, and he's used that to get through once again. But yeah, big movers in the field tonight. Oh, lock up for brakes for Tom Freer behind Brian Borg. He's caught right up to him.
We'll see whether he can get it done. We've seen Freer with a couple of little lockups along this stint, in particular there. It hasn't hurt him too much, but the more that it happens, the trickier it's going to be. And he was fortunate just to be able to pull that car up right on corner apex there and not catch up to Borg.
Going to be very interesting to see whether Tom Freer can do what Adam Briggs couldn't, maybe get this move done. Briggs just seemed to be settling himself back in the rhythm there in the background as they come round. No one looks like they're going to go into the pits. The final corner, turn number 20. They head back onto the main straight. Tom Freer will keep out there with Brian Borg as they come around and complete lap number 23. It was 117 laps here tonight, 650 Ks, all thanks to Jinx Shifters and RaceKraft Simulations from the Circuit of the Americas. We're in round number 10 of season 11 of AOSC. Rick Kuznetsov now in the driver's seat of the Premier Racing team number 8. He's taken over from Tixia. And look at this, purple sector times coming up everywhere. So Rick Kuznetsov in position number 19. He's got the fresh boots on, and we know how fast he has been recently, and his skills are just improving phenomenally. Here we go, big dive from Freer. Doesn't get it done on the brakes. Borg knows what to do. The left-hander puts Freer on the outside. Does he push him out? Doesn't look like gives him a little bit of room. He's got the inside line here into the left-hander. Freer drops back. Well, he's keeping his intentions shown, isn't he, for Freer? And while all this is happening, this gives an opportunity for Adam Briggs now to catch up to these top two again and close down after going through turn number 11 down the back there. We'll head down to the sharp S's really. We'll go through turns number 12, 13, 14 and 15.
Freer very early on the brakes there, just trying to get that car pulled up, square the corner off. Does a nice job of it, but again, Borg just holds him out.
It's amazing how well they do have the car set up there for Brian Borg to be on the inside run there and get that car around and still manage to get enough drive off. They're not getting the crossover done and the cars behind get the drive. And you see Adam Briggs, a little bit of contact there from Freer. He had a good run out of that corner. He did the right thing there, didn't he? Just backed off a little bit for Freer and luckily enough did not turn Brian Borg around.
Well, he did, but that's a little bit of the frustration starting to come into it here. We've seen Borg being incredibly defensive for the past 15 laps here. He's going to dive into the lane here now and take service for his first stop of the event. So 24 laps in the books for him. Let's have a look now at Freer and Borg. They're going to press on along with Rob Bowden there one more time at least and see what they're able to do as they move their way on for the 25th lap.
Oh, now you see the outbreak there, Tom Freer and Briggs, he comes in. So I was interested to see, looks like they've made a mistake in the first corner here, but I really want to see what the lap times would do now Brian Borg is not leading this race, whether they will dramatically drop, considering last time round Tom Freer did a 2:09, a 2:08 from Adam Briggs. So they have been getting lower, so we'll have to wait and see how that one goes. But well, Corey Shepherd is now in the seat of the Premier Racing Team 017.
Adam Haynes having a good run since coming back out from the pits there. 2:07 for the last time by for him, not that far off a 2:06. We saw him stationary 40 seconds, minute 13 to get down and away, and they are closing in on the guys up front. Let's see what he's able to do. He's on the front straight. Shepherd yet to get away, so this is a very long stop for him, 44 seconds, and it's a net gain for Haynes here now, so he's played this beautifully.
How about Ricky Kay or Rick Kuznetsov? 2:05.59 he has just done on the last lap. So he is flying in the number 8. Back in position number 19, but watch out for him to start making his way through the pack because people are coming in and he is going to get them obviously while they're in the pit stop. But that is quick to be 2:05s in a race. So staying out on the track at the moment, you can see there, Tom Frere leading us in the 143. Jordan Ross will be the next driver into that car. Adam Briggs and Andrew Dyson in second. So Dyson will be full of some smoked meat, all thanks to the Phoenix Smokers, and ready to take on his stint very, very shortly. There's not too many more laps that we believe they can get in from the calculations as they go past, and looks like Adam Briggs is going to take the opportunity to come in and take his pit stop and get them on the same. Here's Brian Borg and Corey Shepherd. Rob Bowden in the background, Otis Norrie coming in as well.
And as you can see, a lot of drivers taking this opportunity to take the pit stop. Tom Frere really running it out, taking past my fuel estimates of lap 26.
Well, he has been sitting in the background there in third position, hasn't he? And how much of that do you think where he's just been using the draft and just following the cars in front to just try and maybe extend his first stint out?
When Briggs was all over the back of Borg, absolutely. But the last couple of laps where Tom Frere got past Adam Briggs, probably not so much.
Probably feeling that freedom now. He gets to go out there, no one in front of him, and just run his racing line. And see Adam Hayne now up to position number 11 in the Taipan Esports in front of Corey Shepherd. So nice little undercut from those guys when it comes to the pit stop strategy. So the brothers out there teaming up in the Taipan Esports entry in the 67 here tonight. Wait to see how fast Corey Shepherd is. There's some purple sector times already and plenty of people in the pits as well.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with the opening strategy for the Taipan Esports guys. This has been a net gain up and down across the board there. We've just seen them also get ahead of Dyson, who's taken over the Phoenix Smokers entry. They picked that strategy coming in early, getting the fresh tyres on board, and we're talking about that a little bit. With the full fuel fresh tyres, you're going to be quicker than the guys that are battling on the worn rubber, and this is what we're seeing here tonight. Interestingly now, though, we've got a bit of a marker for how far we can get out of these fuel numbers, so the guys are going to get some ideas later on in the back end of the race, especially for Taipan here. How soon do they need to get in at the conclusion to go one more stint to get home?
Thomas Hinds in the side of Ken Ladder. He gets out of the accelerator there, and luckily enough, Ladder does not get turned around, so Hinds will have to reset himself there, and they'll have to continue this dance that they're doing, as it looks like Tom Frere has made it into the pits for his first driver change.
Yeah, it was very fortunate for both of those two, getting away with not too much issue. Hinds has just dropped in behind there after getting into the back of Ken Ladder, so those guys will just reset, get back underway. And as you said, yeah, Frere is in, Michael Whiting's in, Cam Dance is in, and Alex Van der Sant is in. Tom Freeman still running though, so he's going to promote himself up to the race leader for a little bit, still with a stop for those guys yet to do. They've extended this stint hugely at the moment.
Be interested where Jordan Ross comes out after all this, as they re-establish himself back into the race. Still in the pits, and I'm just looking there so far, about 27 seconds. We'd expect to see another 13 or 14 seconds taking fuel. Whether they did do a couple of extra laps there before they came into the pit. Let's wait and see Jordan Ross still up on stands at the moment. Of course, behind him, Jamie Dyke in the Fishing Motorsports entry. Here they come through. Oh, he's exiting, but it's too late. They've already gone past him, so they've lost quite a number of positions there. Adam Hayne, Corey Shepherd now in second position there. On Hayne. Adam Hayne now back into third position. Tom Freeman leading the race at the moment, but effective race leader is Corey Shepherd, Adam Hayne, and then Andrew Dyson. Seeing that Freeman has not done the pit stop yet, and we don't believe he can do too much more on the fuel load he will be carrying.
No, he'll definitely be looking to come in. If not this lap, I'm sure it has to be this lap. I don't think he can really extend it much further than that. This has been a phenomenal stint for him so far, 27 laps in the books as he presses on. Shepherd, nice move up there into one, gets the pass done on Hayne pretty simply there and builds a little bit of a gap. But I've got to say, Taipan Esports tonight, really impressive with the way they've played the opening stint, the strategy, and getting on those fresher tyres when they did certainly paid dividends. It's brought them all the way from fifth position now into a net second.
Can't take it away from when Corey Shepherd comes out though. At the moment, he's putting on a bit of a masterclass the last few rounds. You can see Daytona Road, the 300k took out on his own. And he's been on the podium out of the 8 races that he's been to in AOSC11, he's been on the podium 6 times. So impressive run. And the other 2 times he didn't make the podium, he was 4th. So, it's a good season for Corey Shepherd once again.
He's been working at putting some very good stints together over the past couple of championship seasons. We've seen him have some phenomenal battles the last 2 seasons with James Scott, been the bridesmaid twice. This is his chance to shine while James has had some other commitments on that have kept him out of the championship, only just sort of allowing for the Enduros. So, it's almost in a way at this point in time, Corey's championship to lose here. So he's just got to press on, keep the car pointed on the straight and narrow, and rack up the points where he can.
And tonight, remember that in 2nd position, 100 points behind him. So an entire 100 points behind for Adam Briggs at the moment. So does have a little bit of a lead in the championship, though. This is a little bit of a battle going on. Ken Latta now in the Acco holder entry with Sean Lindsall. He's back a little bit further. Thomas Hint still in the driver's seat of this car in position number 11. And joining us in the race, taking over from Cameron Dance, is Simon Zomo. Number 27. A little bit defensive there, just watching out in the background there for Ken Latta. You have to be careful. These tyres aren't going to be too warm. They've only done a couple of laps on them. Interesting to see Thomas Hinds trying to get his laps done very early. He's going to do the double stint to start things off. Of course, our minimum laps, maximum laps 77 out of 117, so minimum laps to do will be 40 laps here tonight. Do at least 40 laps for one of the drivers. Get that done in a couple of stints very, very easily.
Yeah, the big thing that throws into contention, though, is do you get enough driver changes completed to meet your minimum driver swaps? So while the double stint is generally, would be preferred, you got consistency as a driver, knowing how the circuit's evolving. It does hurt your position to play the strategy out later on, and they're definitely going to be hoping for a safety car around the pit stop window there for them to get in and out and switch out their options. Ladder looking very racy on the back of Simon Mazzomo as they head up towards turn 12 here. He's going to get that move done nicely under brakes and pull that one off down the inside. Mazzomo with a good job just to keep defensive. He's going to have a look back at trying to get the undercut move done there. He sticks the nose in. Both drivers giving fantastic amount of space here just to let each other ride, and Hinds is going to try the cheeky one up the inside here and see whether he can pick up an extra spot as well.
Well, it's all there for him to gain, isn't it? Follow the car through in front. Ladder goes through. Looks like Hinds not going to quite get it. Going to get stuck on the outside of these right-handers here, and that's not going to help him in that overtake move. He hasn't gone anywhere, though. They're still too wide. He's clinched hard on that steering wheel. The fingers are tight. Looks like he might get this done. Duck down the inside here in the final couple of corners. Slides the car out nicely from Hinds and gets that move done over Mazzomo there and grabs himself a position. Here we go. See Chris Barnes in the tanked SRT car now as Damien Johnson back behind the wheel of the Sim Sim Racing number 33, and he gets the move done there on Chris Barnes, who will move back into 6th position. Jordan Ross in 4th, Andrew Dyson 3rd, Adam Hayne in 2nd, and Corey Shepherd in the Premier Racing team, leading the race once again in the 017.
So as we just ticked over the 1 hour mark, 28 laps in the books there. So if conditions stay green as we're seeing so far, we're going to get the required race distance in probably in about 10 laps to go here, which is good news for these guys. We are expecting potentially a safety car come out later on, but we'll wait and see. Interestingly too, with the first round of stints having been completed, the incident limits as everyone's coming through, the guys have got to start to get cautious on that. We've got some big numbers already being established by a few drivers out there, and at the moment, just having a look at our biggest one, looks like Rob Bowden there, 19 incidents, so off tracks, I would assume for him. We saw him have a very clean car as he got across the line there. It also looks like Sebastian Flock there, actually David Kidman, 18 incidents, and we saw him have a little bit of issues along the way. So something for the guys to consider. It's a very long race here still to go, but we do know at 60 incident points, that's when the first drive-through is going to occur. So it's all about keeping these cars on the straight and narrow now.
Right now, as you watch Andrew Dyson slide the car, and Tom Frere, a bit of a bump on the... Oh, it wasn't Tom Frere, it was Jordan Ross. My apologies, Tom. And that was how that one played out.
Yeah, you thought it was Tom Frere. It was a good move. But no, Jordan Ross, he is definitely back behind the wheel there and all over the back of Adam Hayne, the Taipan Esports entry, with Dyson getting through now and getting up in position there. So Adam Hayne, it'd be great to see him just get into a rhythm there and maybe just follow the car in front and Hayne and just try to stay there, because Corey Shepherd's opened up a nice little lead. It is out to 4.3 seconds. Whether Andrew Dyson can close that down, we'll have to watch and see. Looking at the times, our last lap around was a 2:06.05 from Corey Shepherd, a 2:06.60 from Andrew Dyson, although he has got that move done to Adam Hayne. Now we'll have to wait and see. And I'm just having a look at where Rick Kuznetsov is at 2:06.23. So his pace is starting to even out a bit. And if I have a look up there to find out where he is getting around the track, he is actually in a little bit of traffic, which could have slowed him down just a little bit for Rick Kuznetsov, because he was super fast once they got in, did that driver change there, remembering that his co-driver, Sebastian Tixey, had a few little issues earlier on there and managed to lose quite a few positions. So it's good to see those guys starting to work their way back and up in position at number 7. Just goes to position number 6 too. So Ricky Kay, your racing team, just gets that move done. It'll be interesting to see how quick he can go. Let's have a look now. Jordan Ross under brakes on Adam Hayne. Pulls the 143 up. Do they get around the corner nice and clean? Looks like they do. Jordan Ross obviously a little bit wider there, as you would expect. Locks the brake up though, and Adam Hayne, Taipan Esports, looking for that opportunity to maybe get that position back. I think the biggest thing for Hayne at the moment though, Norrie, is that he just gets in behind now, behind Jordan Ross. Let Jordan Ross get on with it and just stick with him. Use it to his advantage, understand where he's on the track, and try and bring this car around so Todd Hayne can get back. Seems to be a little bit faster.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're going to sit behind someone, it's best to sit behind someone who's quick like Jordan Ross and really, you know, run along with him and fuel save at the same time, because Jordan's going to start pressing on through the field.
Yeah, I was talking about Rick Kuznetsov, old Ricky Kay just before, up in the 6th position, so he got the move done, got past Chris Barnes, the tank SRT entry as well, working his way back into this race with his teammate Sebastian Tixia. Up in front, you can see Damien Johnson just ahead. We'll let him go around and complete this lap, because then we'll see what the last lap times were. 2:05 from Corey Shepherd though, he is flying out in front, really applying the pressure. 2:06.40 though from Rick Kuznetsov, so he's not matching his teammate Corey Shepherd out in front, but everyone else there seems to be in the 2:07s apart from Jordan Ross, who's just cracking the 2:06s. So it seems to be the Premier Racing team have the car set up down, and they've got their quick drivers out there now. They've really got their A drivers in the cars.
Yeah, they've definitely got the cars working well. Admittedly, it is early on. The tyres are still got plenty of life left in them. We'll wait to see how they perform later on in the back end of the stint with the changes. Obviously, the fuel coming out, the cars moving around a little bit more, because we did see that catch a couple of the guys out there. But Rick Kuznetsov doing a fantastic job. We saw him set 2:05.6 was his quickest lap since coming out of the pit lane, and that's still the quickest lap of the night here. So fractionally quicker than what we're seeing from Corey Shepherd. As we have a look back at this battle for the top 10, or the last of the top 10, 9th and 10th position on track at the moment, between Ken Latta, Thomas Hins, down into turn 11. We've already seen the guys have one little coming together in that portion of the track. This time Hins just a little bit further off on exit. So just starting to struggle a bit here. And these guys really going the ultimate strategy, as you mentioned earlier, Matty, with Thomas doing the double stint early on.
Yes, doing the double stint early on, and will it pay off? I mean, he started at the back of the grid too, so he did not get a qualifying time in, and we know that in qualifying, if you go to the outer limits, go too far off the track, you don't get a time, you brush a wall or something like that. So Thomas Hins didn't actually record a time, puts him down the back of the pack. And I mean, you know, do you take the risk? Do you put yourself in for the double stint, and hopefully maybe in the second stint you get a safety car, and that really puts you back on everyone else, and that risk will pay off. Also, we wait to find out exactly what is going to go on, because you just never know at this track what could happen. Every time we've said there's going to be a safety car, there's none. Every time we say there's not going to be a safety car, we have 3 or 4 of them. So we'll just have to wait and see how the racing unfolds, and maybe it's a smart move, maybe it's not so much of a smart move for Thomas Hins.
Well, that's it. So what I'm hearing you saying is we don't think there's a safety car coming. the hope that there is one coming as this one unfolds. Love to also extend a little bit of an invite out to any of the opening stint drivers having a tune in, whether you're looking at the broadcast on Facebook or YouTube and want to give your team a bit of a plug and give us a bit of insight into how your opening events transpired. Come on up into the Discord chat and have a chat to us. And also give us your thoughts on what potentially it's going to be like running around here as the daylight slowly fades on COTA.
It's going to be an interesting topic, isn't it, Norrie? When the daylight comes down, we're going to see a change in the broadcast. Now imagine what that's going to be like for the drivers.
It's going to be great for us because we know what cars are what, and we've got live timing, so we can just know who's highlighted and what we're looking at. But when it comes to what's going to be out on track for the drivers, it's going to be diddly and squat, and they're going to have to really find out exactly what they're doing through the rail, really, because they're going to have to feel around this track through the curbs. And it's going to be hard and hard and hard. So these drivers are needing to work at finding out how the COTA is in the day.
Jordan Ross has got the move done over Andrew Dyson, and having a look at the times there, 206.20 to a 205.99 there for Corey Shepherd. So Jordan Ross very quick here, but I do like, we spoke about it, Adam Hayne and the Hayne train just behind. We said he just needs to duck in behind these guys and stay with them because anything happens like a safety car and they bunch this back up. If he's just there in the fight, they could really see this through to the end and maybe get themselves on the podium there or just in the top 5. And he's done that. Adam Hayne just hanging off the back now of Andrew Dyson. And looking at his lap time's not too far off, a little bit off the pace, but hopefully he can turn that around. Actually, no, sorry, he's not too far off the pace actually when it comes to even Jordan Ross's last time. So hopefully we can see the Hayne boys hang on to this one because I'd like to see them there at the end of the race really battling for it as well. As Thomas Hinds now looking at Ken Ladder again. We saw a bit of contact a couple of laps ago and luckily nothing really came of that one there, but Thomas Hinds having another look down the inside. Doesn't quite look like he's got the pace down the main straight. Going to have a duck down, is he? No, not under brakes, and Ladder will close that one down for him too, so Hinds can't get through. A little lock up with the brake there. Just hurts those tyres each time he has to do that.
Yeah, he's definitely looking very, very racy here. We saw him just drop off the back of the tail of Ken Ladder a couple of laps ago, just conserve the tyres. He's now making that charge back through, and as you watch him down through the S's here, you just see the advantage that he's got there. A little bit more grip through the opening phase of the corner. He's able to tip it in nice and early, but just falls away a fraction there on corner exit. You can see the different lines that both of these drivers are taking to navigate their way around this circuit here. And for Ladder, it's working out beautifully for him. He's just able to hold off the advances here of Thomas Hinds. Will we see Thomas stick one down the inside? He's not quite close enough to get it done, but the pressure he's able to apply under brakes is absolutely phenomenal.
Got a safety car, boys.
The what? Is that the
The COTA AOSC safety car has driven out onto the circuit.
We've got
off the circuit almost.
What's going on?
We said it wasn't coming.
We said it, yeah, we did say it didn't look like it was coming, did it? We did say that. So the safety car is out on track now. Our COTA Industries AOSC safety car. Going to be doing a couple of laps out there. They're getting the itchy feet there, and we'll stop on track and wait for our leader to come around.
And everyone has dived in the lane now to get a quick stop under their belt. Shepherd, Ross, Dyson, Hayne, all in. If anything, this works out beautifully for Thomas Hinds, who we saw early double stint. He'll be able to get in and get another driver swap completed. I don't expect we'll see much. Well, actually, we're already seeing the guys taking the driver changes. Shepherd out, Borg back in the car.
I'm not sure I would stop the safety car there on circuit.
Well, I love how in the event screen that comes up that the AOSC safety car has crashed. It thinks something has happened, and I'm assuming Nick staying on the safety car just to prove that nothing's happened. And now, is he going to pick this one up? Are they going to come round and just having a look? So many cars sitting in the pit lane now.
Car 10's getting waved around. Dylan Thomas here in the fishy car is going to get back onto the lead lap.
Well, that's good for them. They will keep going, and the Fishy Motorsport entry back onto the lead lap. So, a slow AMG AOSC safety car out there, all thanks to COTA Industries, will make their way around at the moment. Big shout out to AJ Insurance Services, of course. We had them there the pre-show last year. They were coming through and laying down a bit of insurance for all the people who had a bit of a mishap, our incident of the week. And good to see they're back on board now for AOSC11. Track Council Gourmets adds a couple of camera packages to us when it comes to iRacing, so we get a couple more angles there, especially the start angle. I notice he's really good at getting that one down, and we thank them, and we obviously use them to provide our additional camera views there for Track Council Gourmets. Jinx Shifters, of course, I mean, we've said it a million times. They have some fantastic shifters there, all obviously those, you can anodize whatever color you want to match your team, what you can do. And what I really like about it is they're not just doing the sim world now, they're actually moving into the real life race cars when they've got the electronic gearboxes and getting them in there as well. So if you have a talk with the boys there and see what they can do for your Jinx Shifters, of course we do have all the brake bias adjusters and everything else that goes with it. They got the full selection of stickers and everything, and they really are the components to have when it comes to sim racing. Also simrigs.com, now remembering we've got a pedal set to give away, a simrigs.com pedal set to give away as part of our drive of the day points that we are accumulating each round. We give those away, and at the moment Rob Bowden, Adam Briggs and Corey Shepherd all on 5 points. That's all to give away thanks to RaceKraft Simulations and simrigs.com, and that will make a massive improvement to any sim rig that you do have. And of course we also need to shout out to Race Circuit Art Australia, do our fantastic at the end of the season. We can't thank them enough. And Team 126 Racing, we hope you're over there in America watching us. It's a glorious day. What's a Thursday over there? And hope you have a big time. Jordan Ross in with a quick pit stop there. I'm just going to have a look at some of the pit stops. There, Premier Racing Team, though, driver swap and twice as long up on jack stands, guys.
Yeah, so we saw that with Corey Shepherd getting out of the 017 Borg, jumping back in. So these guys are just working to get those driver swap allocations out of the way. And then we've got Borg back in the car. It didn't hurt him too much. It did take him out of the lead, but we've seen that car be very quick so far throughout the course of this one. And again, we'll see what Brian's able to do getting back into it. A little bit of a different position for him now, though, being back in that third spot. We saw him be very defensive through the entirety of the opening stint. A little bit of a different option for him now. He's able to go on the offensive and start trying to make a couple of moves.
Yeah, will be a different position for him. He's going to need to watch out. Adam Hayne behind's had a little bit of pace too. Be interesting whether he's just happy to sit behind Brian Borg and continue to get the laps down, and hope that Damien Johnson doesn't pressure them too much, because he's been quick as well. He didn't qualify where he wanted to back in 12th when they qualified, but definitely someone to watch out for. Thomas Hinds now 12 positions up in 8th. So, at a reasonable night as well. Sorry, maybe when you look at the race there, we're talking about this going into the night time now. They're getting their driver swaps out very early, but with Corey Shepherd obviously has a bit of youth and enthusiasm on his side. You think that will help when it comes to the night racing? Is that a strategy now to get Corey Shepherd in for the final couple of stints?
Oh, I said it before, get Brian in the car and get his laps done, because 77's the maximum drive laps any one driver can do, and Corey Shepherd's the guy I'd want in for the end of this race. Although you might need the wisdom of an old man like Brian Borg. He'll respect me saying that.
Take offense to you calling me an old man. Would you say a mature man, a more experienced?
A seasoned campaigner.
Seasoned veteran.
Gets up pretty early and drives the trucks, doesn't he? He might be used to the night racing.
He'll respect me saying that.
Oh, it's
what part, that he's old or that he's seasoned?
Old and seasoned. Is that right, Brian? If you watch the commentary back, send me a rude message. I'll understand.
That was Matthew Norris, not Matty Cav, all right? Matthew Norris that said that. We'll just leave you in there, Norrie. We'll dob you in.
I just felt a double-decker bus trample over my head. Thanks, mate.
Who needs enemies when you got mates like us, hey?
Evidently not good ones. Anyway, there's racing. Let's watch that.
Oh, the safety car's out at the moment. They're bunched up. They've all come in for another pit stop. So we get a couple of those. And a lot of guys have not done the driver change. So that is very interesting there. Brian Borg, they're back in the car. Probably one of our front runners to get that other driver change done. In saying that, at the end of this stint, we know they're doing 20, like low to the mid-20s off a tank of fuel. So he should be done after this one. He can sit back and really do the strategy for the rest for Corey Shepherd if he wants. Remembering you've got to do about a minimum of 40 laps. So he's done 25, was it from memory already?
Yeah, like 26, I think he managed to get out to before he came down the lane. So he's not that far off having completed his minimum drive time. And as you're saying, if he gets the next stop done, he is done for the night, we would expect. Did hear too from race control, safety car will be in at the end of this lap. So look for the field to soon be handed off control over to Jordan Ross in the 143. And we'll see how he goes with the restart. The restart for this circuit will be between the turns 15 and 16. So expect the guys to get very racy on the run out of turn 16 as they head up towards turn 1. And maybe we'll see a couple of passes on the run up.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see who lines himself up for that, whether they can really have a go at that one. How long will Jordan Ross now back off and just let that safety car get away? It won't be too far away from driving off. Our COTA AOSC safety car about to head off into the distance this time round, and we'll go back into the pits, leaving Jordan Ross to lead away in the Synergy Sim Racing car. Andrew Dyson behind him, and Brian Borg back in third position. Last time he was out on track, he was out in the lead. Adam Hayne in the Type Band Esports, can he get an early jump? Damien Johnson, what can he do? Matt Thompson, the Premier Racing Team, the 15, putting himself in some contention there. Chris Barnes stayed in the Tank SRT, and Thomas Hims doing the double stint. Where will this put him on the restart? You just see him come into view there. Thomas Latta behind in 9th, Sebastian Tixier in 10th, so a driver change for them. Rick's out of the car, Premier Racing Team, making sure that their A drivers change out and get their B drivers done as early as possible. They bunch them up here though. Jordan Ross now gets the accelerator down and takes off. Dyson behind him, Borg, Hayne, Johnson, Thompson, Barnes, Hims, Latta, Sebastian Tixier. Will they go 2 or 3 wide going down to turn number 1? Look at the downhill run. What a shot there from our track cancer gourmets. A look there from Dyson on the inside. A lock up there from Ross. Johnson there, looks like him in the background. Looks like he's having a go at Adam Hayne. Can he get that move done? Hims, has he gone around the Tank Dust RT team of Chris Barnes? It looks like Hims may have got that move done. He hangs onto it around the outside, puts himself down the inside run on the left-hander. Watch out for Ladder though, for Chris Barnes. He looks like he's going to have a go in the Alco holder entry as well. The top 5 look like they've gone through those single file. Thought maybe there Johnson might have had a go at Hayne, but hasn't got the move done.
It was a good restart for everyone there as they work their way up towards the hill. There is a car around though. That's Sebastian Tix here. I think actually Matt Thompson has had a moment there coming through the middle part of the lap. He's able to get the car back underway. That drops him down a huge amount of positions there. Now down into 13th spot following that incident.
Yeah, Jordan Ross got a nice start on this one, but Andrew Dyson knew exactly what was going on and has stayed with him on this one.
Yeah, that's pretty similar to what we saw last time out with Adam Briggs just hovering in the background there. And for Dyson, this is everything he needs to do just to pick up a couple of spots. Rob Harris very wide there down into 12, and that will drop him a spot as well.
It's Sebastian Tixier all over the back of the ladder now. What can he do? Dyke not far behind either. Looks on the outside there. They almost make contact between Tixier and Dyke. And Van der Sand. We've seen him. He knows how to push the car through without making too much contact. He put the 74 through a couple of positions before. Look, keep looking back. Visma now in the car in the 126. Nathan Moore, Premier Racing Team in 12 and 13. And just in the background of the shot there, you can see they're going to have a nice little battle going on as well. Nathan Moore just gets a position over Visma. Now Chris Barnes is leading this. Sitting in position number 7, Ladder has a look around the outside and the simrigs.com comes down the inside line up to turn number 1 under brakes. He looks like he's going to get this one. A dive now from Tixier as well. Can he get in there?
Yeah, Tixier fired that one in from a long way back. He's able to get up there. He might not be able to complete that move there on Barnes, so as they work their way down towards the S's, he's just been able to get that one through. But that safety car period and the subsequent second round of stops really hurt the Tanks mob. They dropped from what was 4th position down into 9th now.
Well, it's good to see Ken Ladder now get back up to the 7th position there and might be able to use that to make a couple more. Go back to Blake Delaney in the Fisher Motorsports team in position number 16. Got Rob Harris in front of him. Of course, entry here, Black under brakes. So over Chris Barnes, and looks like Dyke. Can he get the move done? Will he hold on to it? Barnes back out in front, just got the nose there. Look behind though, Van der Sant. Ominous in the background. Which car does he follow through into this corner? Stuck with Chris Barnes, but under brakes. Can he pull this one up though? Dyke. Nice job there, not to lock it up too much in the background. Contact made though as that Visma pushes around Van der Sant. Oh, he's going to lose so many position, Van der Sant, and that is probably going to see Visma there with a small penalty, I would say. We'll have to wait and see what race control, how they adjudicate that one.
Yeah, it looked like, we'll wait to see what happened. I'm not sure where there was contact in it. We're going to duck back to the replay and see what transpired here. So they were too wide heading up on the run into 12 there. Van der Sant took an early break and just got the car turned in there, and then coming in late, and you can see he snatches a little bit of a break, which probably unsettled him a bit, but Visma there with nowhere to go just drills the back of that car. And Van der Sant, unfortunately, has to sit there stationary, wait to get for the field to go before he's able to flip that car around and get back underway. Here's a look on board with Visma just to see what transpired here. Gets a very early entry, and it's the slightest of touches just on the rear bar there that sends Van der Sant around.
I'd say that back. That's Nathan Moore is at 31 actually.
Yeah, you are correct.
Visma not involved in that one. That's my mistake. So good to see that's Nathan Moore in 31 there that we're on board with there, made the contact. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see whether they're going to Van der Sant. They're going to say Van der Sant was on the brake set. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. We'll wait to hear what happens with race control. They will let us know, and we'll see that car obviously stay out there, or possibly get a drive through penalty later. Matt Thompson, the 15, lost a couple of positions there back in 13 now, but looking to settle himself in this race and see if he can move up the field. Visma just in front with Taipan Esports entry, and here we go, a bit of a duck down the inside from Thompson. Gets the move done of Anthony Visma. Is that Rob Harris in the background too, getting a move done? No, he might have lost the spot there actually, Rob Harris, and Blake Delaney, the Fisher Motorsport entry.
Yeah, I think he lost a spot, but these guys are on a bit of a recovery drive after the unfortunate issues there for Sean Thompson in lap 1. We saw that car going around on its own, and it's been a steady drive back through the field for these guys. 2 spots away still from where they started, but with Rob behind the wheel now, we know what a good driver he is. And if you haven't checked out his streams before, have a look at Rob Harris Racing, and you'll be able to get an on-board look at his run back through the field here. As you see a little bit of an incident there, I think that was Steve Kokoschke just losing the back end of that car. Plenty of battle marks down the left side of the Synergy Sim Sports entry. A bit of rubbing is racing, as they say, but that side of the car looking very second-hand.
Yeah, just lost a little bit of delivery on the side of that one, but that's okay. For Kokoschke, he'll keep going. Dylan Thomas is back up to the Barnes, who's lost a number of positions since the restart of this race. He's got to watch out for Matt Thompson now from the Premier Racing team as he comes down the inside under brakes and looks like he might get this done. Outside. No, he holds on to this one, does a nice job this time to get around. This one just in the background, Taipan Esports entry, and you can see out in front Nathan Moore has got the move done and just opening up a gap. Oh, heap curb though, goes up on 2 wheels. He actually did really well there, Dan, to hold on to that. I thought that was really going to push the car out wide. We'd see Matt Thompson go through.
Yeah, we've seen that a little bit tonight with the way the guys have got the cars set up. It is very forgiving if you do catch those corners. So, just say, fortunately, he didn't lose it there, but it looks like he's going to have to succumb here as there's a nice run for Thomas down the inside there. And he slots one up into turn 11. Just in behind as well, we've got Visma. Is that Blake Delaney trying to get a move done on Visma? And Rob Harris is going to throw his hat in the ring here as well and see whether he can claw up another spot. He's going to have the drive on exit and be able to get this move done, hopefully down into turn 12. Keep an eye on this as the guys fire their way down the extremely long back straight here at Circuit of the Americas. And for Harris, he's got the car out there and should be able to pick off at least one of the spots here. Gets the apex there at Visma. He's going to hold it out there, try and hold that spot as they work their way through 13 and up into 14, 15.
He gets a nice move back there, doesn't hold on to that one, so Rob Harris will have to rethink his move. Visma's Lost a couple of those positions there, which he was working very, very hard on. So he'll reset himself there. Get back online. Hope that Rob Harris doesn't have that additional speed to go by as they head around this one. You can see he's in front. Blake Delaney looking for some way to get around Chris Barnes. Probably slowing them down a little bit at the moment. With the opportunity for the two behind to close that gap. So the battle's still happening down the back here. Chris Barnes in 12th position in the Tank SRT entry. Blake Delaney with a run down here down the straight. Fishing Motorsport entry. Duck down the inside. Doesn't get it done on this corner. We'll have to wait and see whether he gets another opportunity. So while that's happening, of course, still some stuff going on down position number 18. You can see, well, it actually starts at position 17. Scott Barton there in the After Dark Sim Racing, just in front of Simon Mazzomo and Stephen Kokoschki. These three are going to lock themselves in a little battle there for position number 17. Mazzomo looking like he's got a little bit of a run there on Barton. Here we go, puts the nose out, tries to get it down. Mazzomo looks like he's down the inside run here. Barton around the outside though, the right hander's coming up, so he's going to get a little bit of an advantage on this one. Sorry, another left-hander at the far end, but it's a main straight, gets a good drive off this one. They head down the back. Under brakes, not going to have another go on this one. You can see the attitude of the car. There's the nose really dives down the back. The happening there in the background. There's all the people. Van der Sande trying to make his way back through after turning around a little bit earlier, a couple of laps ago. Fishing Motorsports around the outside. Blake Delaney now going past Chris Barnes. Goes a long way. Manages to get that move done. Anthony Visma looks like he wants to get in on this one as well. Can he make a move? He's got to watch out because Rob Harris is behind him in the Mach 1 Esports entry. Oh, there you go, the wheel spin as they get onto the main straight there. As we see Blake Delaney in the number 14 Fishing Motorsports entry. He's going to have to watch that. Brian Borg still holding out in third position though. Adam Payne right under the rear wing, and I think that's all the Hayne plane needs to do. If he can hold on to Brian Borg and they can stay together, hold on to this third and fourth position, they might put themselves in a great contention there in the back half of this race.
And I must say, interesting, just watching the attitude of the Premier car here, the 017, it's not quite to the same pace that we saw in the opening stint of the event. They're falling away a little bit. Last time around for Brian, it was 207.07 comparatively to Ross and Dyson. Both those guys in the very low 206s. So the setup here at the moment, not quite where the Premier boys need that to be. And I think they're going to be relying heavily on the pace that we've seen from Corey Shepherd.
Be interested to see what the temperatures on the track have changed to as well at the moment. The sun's starting to go down the background.
Contact for in the background there. Who was that? That was Van der Sande, just on the back of Kokoschki. No harm, no foul though.
And have a look there. Track temperature down to 19 degrees. So it's probably a couple of degrees at the moment. Good start to feel well. The sun coming down too. It's not dark out on track either. So not yet. But it's not too far away. Of course, we started in the afternoon here this afternoon at the Circuit of the Americas with 171 laps to complete, 650 kilometres. We know it's going to be on the brink of the 4-hour race. We need to speed up. We need to make sure we get the laps done, boys.
The sun is beyond the yard arm.
Can you say that in a more posh voice?
The sun is beyond the yard arm.
Oh, crikey.
Oh, it's getting late into a Friday night here at AOSC, and we've still got plenty of laps. We're only a third of the way through this race. A bit over a third. And hopefully if you're joining us over in America and the Team 126 of sharing the love over there, hopefully you're enjoying the telecast or the broadcast here tonight. Of course, I think Nick's Hauser in the background doing our production tonight. It looks like we've got our replays fixed up and we are full steam ahead. Jordan Ross leading this race with Andrew Dyson not too far behind. Van der Sant, though, back in position number 20 after being spun around a few laps ago and trying to work his way back through the field. Stephen Kokoschny just in front. You can see a little bit of that frustration starting to make his way through there before with just a little bit of contact. Unfortunately, unsettled Kokoschny too much. Watch out though, Scott Barton and Simon Mazzomo in this battle now in front for position number 17. And now we bring in Kokoschny and Van der Sant. Van der Sant looking for any little bit of opportunity there. Comes down the inside, not going to happen on this one. Cuts it off too for Kokoschny. Just make sure on that there's no room. Goes over the curb a fair bit for Van der Sant. Unsettles the car, but drives it away. Doesn't try to get aggressive that time.
No, but he had the right idea, just going very wide, trying to cut that corner back as much as possible to help the exit there and get the run through. Just a little bit too much space used, and we saw him grab the curb there on entry. And we are hearing too that these are all our American team out there tonight. So given the distance and a little bit of the latency issue, they're doing a phenomenal job there, working their way back through. So we'll keep an eye on those guys as they press on. And we'll have a look here. There's another little moment there for Kokoschny. Nearly picks up the back of Mazzomo on the run through there. Has a huge moment and actually allows Dave Kidman to get in as well. Actually, it's Scott Barton who was able to pick up an extra spot there as well. The After Dark Sim Racing entry. Those guys now back into 18th spot there. Van der Sant just hovering on the back. Mazzomo, though, with a little bit of an advantage now. He's able to claw away just a small bit.
Scott Barton. You see, we're watching him go around. He's just had to watch Mazzomo go past. He needs to watch out now, though, because Kokoschny trying to make it as well. You head over to Sebastian Tixia now, the Premier Racing Team entering position number 8 there, and the RaceKraft Simulations sponsoring the Premier Racing Team in season number 11 here in AOSC. Jamie Dyke just behind him, the Fishy Motorsport victory. The lights are starting to come on the cars, which means the sun is going down in the background. What back mode?
All three of them are out.
I think that was simultaneous contact.
Synchronized sliding. Not sure who did it better though, the supercars at Sydney Motorsport Park in the wet, or these three right here.
No, it's unfortunate for those three, but they haven't lost their positions to each other. But looks like we have a safety car. A car has gone past while it has happened, and I'm just trying to see is that Dylan Thompson was in that one. Right.
While you boys were watching that, we had Andrew Dyson past Jordan Ross with P1.
Oh, a change to the leader and Dyso and the Smokers. Phoenix Smokers, that is, back in front. All thanks to simrigs.com and Alcoholder as well. Briggs will be hoping that they can bring this one home as a team, because get him catch him a few points in the championship. We'll check out a bit of a replay here on where the move was done. The back section as they head down is tight. Left-hander through turn number 12. Lock up of the inside wheel there too on the front. Drives a 72 out of this one. Does Jordan Ross get an opportunity to get this move back?
Nope. That's the short answer. The slightly longer answer is no, he doesn't, because Andrew Dyson actually puts the pedal down and skips away a little bit here. Jordan Ross seems to lose a bit of ground until we see them come around onto the main straight. Jordan might close it up.
There you go, they come around to complete another lap. Still staying on our replay at the moment though. So Andrew Dyson, wait to see what times he runs now that he's out in front, because it didn't look like we get that move. done. Maybe Jordan Ross being a little bit, just taking a little bit of strategy here this time round and thinking it's my turn to follow and maybe conserve that fuel and look after the tyres a little bit better in P2.
One of the options might be the sun's going down, the lighting around Circuit of the Americas is less than average, and following a car is a much better way to make your way around this circuit than being the lead. So that might be a strategy play there from Jordan Ross.
Mark won't explore that in the background there trying to get done. It was like Visma under attack now here from David Kimmin. David Kimmin under break.
Oh.
Rob Harris gets over Barnes.
Look up there from Kimmin. Wasn't sure if he was going to make the corner, if he was going to dart down the side of Visma, but it was awesome that corner got done without carnage. Still watching David Kimmin here. He's actually up 6 spots tonight, is Kimmin, so he's having a rip snorter of a battle up here in position 15. And we'll be looking to advance the car further up as we move on tonight.
Nathan Moore's coming from Premier Racing Team. A little bit out of where a little bit out of sync after we had the safety car and everyone came in for a bit of an early pit there. We did seem to do about mid-20s when it came around to the laps, most people coming in lap 24 to lap 26. The restart of this race after the safety car in the late was after lap 33 when everyone came in. So
Well,
wait and see how far they go.
in 5 more laps, Brian Book will have done. He's completed his allotted driving. And Corey Shepherd can take it home. So that's something to look at.
That is something to look at. So they can then decide on their pit stop strategy after that, I suppose, because 3 driver changes then completed. Yes. Tick. So it has completed the lap. That means that Corey Shepherd can bring this car home, which gives the opportunity for Brian Book to sit in the background there and make sure the strategy right when it comes to fuel and tyres, and assist Corey in that they'll know exactly what they need to do. So Moore had a drive-through returning car number 74, so that's why we have seen the drive-through there in pit lane. There we go. So Moore with a drive-through for turning car number 74, Van der Sande. So that's why we see Van der Sande in 19th position there. A number of cars did go by as we're looking at this battle at the moment. Damien Johnson, Adam Hayne. So Johnson has managed to get that done. Hayne just dropped off the back of Brian Borg, but another opportunity here not to drop too far back in the field because Johnson seems to have a little bit more pace over Brian Borg. Maybe they can close that gap up, work together, and in the background there you can see Thomas Hinds, who's done a fantastic job to double stint it so far tonight. He's up 14 positions in the Henry James Racing car. He's done all the laps, so he's done the minimum amount of laps. I would say maybe he'll bring it home in the last stint. Just don't know with Thomas Hinds, but great drive from him to make all those positions up.
Yeah, fantastic drive to advance that much in a race. It's encouraging when you see that sort of pace in AOSC.
How's Jamie Dyke? He's got the move done though, and got past Sebastian Tixia there, so he moves up into 8th position. I know he's just been following him around for a little bit, and looks like he's got that move done. Moved up position. Chris Barnes in position number 13 now, and David Kimmin has caught up to him. So the Suit Sim Racing entry 717 will look to try and see if we can get the move done on the number 10 of Chris Barnes, Tank SRT. On the back end, Anthony Visma will join this little party, which is the battle for position number 13.
Fantastic shot out of the rear end of the car of Chris Barnes. Looking back at David Kimmin and looking at the attack from this very, very peculiar angle. You see the shocks do an immense amount of work around Circuit of the Americas, and it's an incredible journey.
They do have a little bit of work to do. Doesn't look like Kimmin's going to get him on this one though. Not quite there to get on the brakes, I wouldn't think, as they pulled the car up. amount of curb his car turn.
So the drive from Chris Barnes and in the corner exit is really good tonight and for Tanked SRT. They've got the setup working very well. You can see him just get a nice little extension out of those slow corners.
Kimmer not being able to close that gap down at the moment. Maybe just settling in for a few laps, getting comfortable though. Don't get too comfortable. This is right behind him. So watch out for that happening. We head to a replay out of practice. The alcohol to DPR entry. Heads up to 554. Turn number 1. Slides the car under brakes. Pulls it up, gets out of the way luckily. Oh, that was very, very lucky. Very lucky there. Jamie Dyke and Sebastian Tixier go by. So Chris Barnes, Tank SRT back on board and the rear tyre of this one.
Barnes there, a good exit out of the turn 11 chicane or corner there onto the back straight. They're able to gain a little bit of an advantage over Kidman. So head down in towards 12 there. And that little advantage we saw from Kidman a couple of laps ago where we was right over the rear bumper of Chris Barnes there seems to have fallen away now. And for Kidman, he's going to have to be a little bit careful. Anthony Visma really starting to close in on the back. See just a little glimpse there of Rob Harris after getting through this battle. He's still sitting there in 12th position. We saw his teammate Sean Thompson in the YouTube chat before, and along with Rob Bowden, another teammate Chris Barnes there in the Tanked SRT entry. Both those guys did a phenomenal job in the opening stints. And we'll look forward to seeing what they're able to do when they get back behind the wheel as well. Head up to turn one more time, and Barneshead looking very, very handy as he works his way out on exit. Norrie, your take on this, going from the day into the night there, what is your take on the change in the car setup as things unfold?
Yeah, obviously the cars are going to probably move around, have a bit more grip because the track might be a bit cooler and therefore the tyres won't wear as aggressively. But the visibility is down low, so the speeds might back off a bit, might go a bit slower, because they might have to see where they're going. So I hope a lot of them being spec savers and grabbing some glasses, because it's going to be tricky out there.
On this little scrap here, this is a pretty intense little battle here. They are battling for just outside the top 10 there. As you see, for Barnes, he just loses a little bit of momentum there on the back of Kidman. And wait to see how these guys come through as they continue on. And surprisingly for Kidman and Sim Racing, we know they didn't get the qualifying lap they would have liked in. They came right from the back of the field to work their way through. But the pace tonight for these guys hasn't been there, and from what we've seen traditionally, just struggling a little bit more than normal.
Yeah, I've headed back down the field a little bit, having another Tank SRT. It was a great start there from Rob Bowden, but just back a little bit. We head back up to Adam Hay in the Taipan Esports now, and can he hold on to this one? Because Thomas Hins looking to make his 15th position in this race. They head up the hill. Can he get him under brakes? Wayne does a nice job, leaves enough room there. No point getting an incident at this point because we're not even halfway through the race, and gets the run down here, the inside line. Nice use of the curb. Hins looks like he's going to get it though this time as they go through the S's. A lot of curb there from Hayne, but he'll have time to settle the car. He's not under pressure from anyone behind him. So he goes back into 6th position with the Taipan Esports, and once again, we're going to say they have been super impressive, the Hayne Train brothers. Hopefully I can hold on to this one. Be interesting to see how Hinds and teammate go in the Henry James Racing entry there, because Thomas Hinds has stayed in the car. It's pretty much going to be a 2.5 stint from him. So they'll have all the minimum laps done. He'll have to come in before lap 77 though, because that will be the maximum amount of laps, of course, that they can do. But we'll have to make sure that there are 40 laps over the other driver lead. He'll have to come in.
Yeah, and he's teamed up tonight with Brett Loxton there as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on that when Brett gets behind the wheel of that car, as we duck a little bit back to the scrap we were watching there for Barnes and Kidman. Up into 1. Kidman got a beautiful draft getting the inside there of 1 there. Gets the car parked up on the inside, no contact. And Chris Barnes able to hang it on the outside. You don't often see that in the supercar there, but did a beautiful job to hold on to that position, and he will continue his fight down in that 14th spot now, as Kidman with a massive moment catching onto the yellow curb there just before we cut away to live pictures. That was a huge shock going through the car there.
I think there was only one wheel making contact on the bitumen. I don't think there was 2 wheels, just 1. So Kidman holds on to that one there and pulls the car up here. A little bit of a move done. Nathan Moore looks like he's got a Mazomo there in the background. The Premier Racing Team entry there from Nathan Moore, 31. Mazomo's not decided this is yet. I'm going to come back.
So as you watch Ken Ladder fall down the timing and scoring, if he's fallen out, this will be very reminiscent of what we saw for the DPR guys at Suzuka there, where Andrew Dyson lost the internet. We know there's been some storms in the Australian region lately that potentially could have taken out the internet. Hopefully not, but we'll look to see whether Ken's able to get that car back underway. That's a tough break for those guys.
It will be a tough break, and hopefully we will see something in the chat, maybe on YouTube, or whether the guys want to jump into our comments box and let us know. If you just come into the Commons waiting room, we're happy to chat with some of the drivers who are obviously not out there in their stint. We know you're probably preparing for those changes again. A bit of obviously a pit stop and a driver change may be coming up for some of the teams, so you might be getting prepared for that, but don't be afraid to jump into the waiting room if you want to have a bit of a chat with us. Alex from After Dark Sim Racing Rings, he's happy to come. Just jump in the waiting room, mate, if you can get down there, and we will drag you into the commentary box and have a bit of a chat with you, see how the boys are going. Of course, still getting around there, mate. Scott Barton's out there, and we know you've been battling it out there with Vandersand, who's been up and down a little bit, and Kokoschki too. You guys are having a nice little battle in the pack there. There we go. Alex is in here, mate. Alex Court joining us in the commentary box, and you're out of the car. You've done your first stint. But you're having some nice little battles down the back there.
Yeah, g'day boys. Yeah, it's going pretty smooth so far. Scotty's doing a good job in the car at the moment. I'll be getting back in the car soon. So yeah.
Is the idea just to get the driver changes done early, and then we can just see who's got the feel for the last stint?
Yeah, driver changes done early, and I'm pretty sure I'm finishing the race off.
No pressure at all. Oh, there you go. Has a little bit of a moment. Scotty under brakes there as he gets the car turned in. How are you finding the Circuit of the Americas? A bit of a challenging track?
Honest opinions, I hate it. Look, it's not one of my favourites at all. But yeah, I was reading some of the comments on the chat earlier and saw that we'll be finishing in the dark. So yeah. Interesting times ahead.
Did you have carrots in there?
I did.
Hopefully, you'll just be able to. Hopefully, we've done enough laps so that you can just close your eyes to it, mate. It's going to be interesting times. Hopefully, you're not in those battles when that comes. Maybe you can just make a couple of positions there, get some free air, take some pressure off.
Yeah, see what happens. So.
How you guys enjoyed the season so far? You've been enjoying getting around the tracks?
Yeah, look, loving it. So it's good fun. It's always good to race against some tough competition. It certainly makes things more challenging, that's for sure, and that's what you want in racing. You know, you want to have those battles with the best of the best out there. So yeah, look, good fun.
Yeah, sometimes it's not always about being up the front of the pack. Even if you're mid-pack or a bit further down, if you've got a group of guys around you that you can have these fantastic battles with, that's where the fun really evolves, doesn't it?
100%. Yeah, look, you know, we know that we're not going to be up the front competing with the real fast guys, but look, it's just fun to share the track with those guys, and you know, our aim is just to finish, and if we make up a few spots, then it's an absolute bonus. But yeah, you know, Scotty's had some good battles there. I think it was with Simon earlier on, so yeah, it's good fun.
It is, and it's good for you AOSC. We can't thank you. I mean, run us through the After Dark sim racing. Is that just you and Scotty there, obviously doing the night shift, I suppose, once everyone's gone to bed, get the sim racing done?
Yeah, look, we're a pretty new team. Only been up and running for a few months, so look, the aspect behind After Dark is, you know, you can race whatever you want. So we've got guys who run NASCAR, IndyCar, GT3, GT3s, supercars, yeah, everything. So it's up to the drivers what they want to race. So yeah, good to have a wide range of cars out there to represent After Dark.
Having a bit of fun, and I tell you what, the supercars are one of the harder cars to fly.
They are, yeah. I raced IndyCar last night, and that was tricky, but good fun.
Good fun. Oh, look, you just slice the car out a little bit. You better watch out, I reckon, Scotty, because you've got Brett Loxton now, just like the Henry James Racing team. Thomas Hinder's come in, and Loxton's now got in and be on fresh tyres behind him, so you can't be too far away from getting back in the car, I'd say.
No, about 7 or 8 laps until I'm back in the car, so yep. Scotty did a bit of a longer stint this time because of the safety car, so yeah.
All right, mate. Well, good luck. We hope to we hope you get involved in a heap of battles here at the end, because we can't wait to see how it unfolds, and we do like watching the battles further down the pack as well, and we like to get on the broadcast. So good luck, and we'll see where you end up tonight.
No worries. Thanks very much, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Cheers, boys.
Yeah, great to have people like that. Just jump into our commentary box and have a chat, and that's what you can do if you want to talk about your team, or let us know what's going on tonight as we head into this night race there. And a move done there, and Visma goes wide, ducks under the inside of Kidman, but we'll go wide and give that position back, and Kidman will drive away. Visma did a nice job to recover there, though, a bit of run-off room there, and manages to go again. But yeah, just noticing Brett Loxton now in the 209. But all those positions they made, 15 positions, they are now back to position number 17.
Yeah, Loxton will be a good one to keep an eye on. Oh, gee, that's a he did well to avoid Scott there on the run into 13. Gets himself back underway. So that's a tough break to get yourself back underway in this car. We'll wait to see him settle down and press back on. Kidman, mirrors full of Anthony Visma in the background there. You can just see him working their way through 1 and 2. Just behind those guys, Nathan Moore and Simon Mazzomo, they've really started to fall off the back of this little fight as well. They're going into their own little scrap down for 13th and 14th position. And for Mazzomo, they're not quite able to emulate the pace that we saw earlier in that car from Dave Cameron. Sorry, apologies, Cameron Dance was in that car earlier. Not quite getting it done, but looking very, very racy as they work their way up the little rise there. We'll see whether he's able to slot a move down into 12. Just has a moment there. That's going to drop him back a bit, but he's going to be looking quick. Nice exit there for Moore. Just going to be able to hold on to that position. Keep an eye up and down the field just to see if we've got any battles on that scrap with Kidman and Visma's back heating up again as the guys work their way up into 13 there. Visma closing right in 0.3 of a second there as he leverages the draft. We've got a couple more guys coming in the lane to start knocking over their second stops for the night. Adam Hayne brings in the Taipan Esports entry out of 4th position. And we'll see where there's a driver change going on board that car as he works his way down towards the box.
Luckily, Visma now not under too much attack there on David Kinman in the Pursuit Sim Racing entry, so won't have to put that as we head over. Oh no, he goes wide there too. Mazomo on the inside there. Nathan Moore on the outside got pushed out a little bit there, but he holds on to it. Mazomo goes through, but they're going to battle this one. Brett Loxton though gets that move. You know, he's pulled right in behind Scott Barton. We'll see after Dark Sim Racing what happens there. He just slides the car out a little bit. We heard from his teammate Alex Court there before. There's a few more laps left to go. There's an exchange again here. Nathan Moore gets the move. Simon Mazomo then back to position number 13. Loxton gets that one done on the brakes now into turn number 1. There's Todd Hayne now back in the car. The Taipan Esports has been down the pit lane and back to 17, but he was up the front runner. So we're going to start seeing some of our cars start to come into the pits, and this will change to see how things go. And he won't want to be stuck behind these two for too long, Todd Hayne. We want to make a move done pretty quickly so he can use this advantage of fresh tyres to try and cut a few seconds out of those leaders.
Yeah, that worked out really, really well for him in that opening stint there, where he was able to almost get back to an effective race lead once the pit stops cycled their way through. Having a little bit of trouble though getting past Scott here, as Scott's doing a phenomenal job just to hold him off, but I think he's going to lose this position into the turn 1 there. A little bit of contact on entry. I don't think that's going to hurt too much, but he gets the move done. Will press on. Now Mazomo and Van der Sant set up for their own little battle after dropping off the back there of Nathan Moore.
Almost 2 hours gone now in this endurance here on this Friday night, all thanks to Jinx Shifters and RaceKraft Simulations. Slide out from Van der Sant, all on his own. Getting loose in the background. So the sun just peering through in the background there, getting darker, and we can see the lights coming on the cars now, starting to take effect as they come round. It's going to start to get tricky conditions there for the drivers, and we'll have to wait because it's going to go a lot darker, a lot quicker than what we have seen so far. Will we see the inclusion of more safety cars? Will that change how things play out in the race here? Right, we can say it is. It's a Friday night race, and we are about to go into the night in this 117 lap 650k race around the Circuit of the Americas here tonight. We are on lap 55 at the moment of 117, almost at the halfway point, Dan. We are almost there, and a little bit of a spread out field at the moment, but it's still going on at the front between Andrew Dyson and Jordan Ross.
Yeah, you're right. The field has sort of spread out there. As we have a look at the track map, you can see our leaders just working their way through a little bit of lap traffic. So that's Matthew Brunt in the Synergy Sim Racing entry. He's in position 20 and about to go a lap down there as we watch Andrew Dyson still pressing on nicely behind the wheel, hovering still in the low 206s still as well. So the pace in the Synergy car has been very, very good. They've built up a healthy little margin here. We'll wait to see later on as the pit stops cycle their way through. We know Corey Shepherd will be jumping back on board the 017, and he was very quick in that opening stint. But for the guys out front, they've just got to keep pressing on. Mazomo has closed right back up on Nathan Moore as the guys head down into 12. And we'll see whether he's able to get back in, because he did fall away just for a fraction there, Matty. But the pace has sort of just started to come back to him after we saw that little rotation there for Anthony Van der Sant.
Yeah, he definitely has had some pace. Just a few mistakes tonight and a little bit of contact earlier on has probably caused him to be a bit further down the pack than what he should be, back in position number 14 for Van der Sant. We're just on board now at the moment, though, with Anthony Visma and looking back at Simon Mazomo. Second, Fitzy Motorsport. Texans, Fitzy Motorsport's entry behind Nathan Moore. Obviously, the Premier Racing team just in front, and this is his back bar shot. The lights are on. It is getting quite dark, gloomy in the background. The crowd are becoming shadows. We're going to see the big screens. I do love the images going around on the big screens in the background as the cars get around. Notice them. We've got one doing burnouts. We've got a bit of Formula One on there, so it's all happening. As we head around the track, you get to see that. Sections of the circuit light up, especially that red and blue paint there, and we're going to see that. And we're going to see a bit more curb usage now, not because you want to use it, because you're not quite know where your bearings are. You're going to find yourself in the dark now, and you know, you hit those little sausages on the curb, and that's really going to affect the balance of the car as you go through the corners. And you could see some positions change while that happens, and we could see some cars come unstuck with that if they get a little bit too sideways, especially with the tyre degradation in the back half of the stint. So we'll have to wait and see how that all plays out. Unfortunately, Ken Latta looks like that car may have gone out of the server, and I'm just having a look. I can't really see that moving around again, so we may have lost something there. Hopefully those guys might be able to get it back, and maybe they'll decide it's time to break the whole one and watch the rest of the race. Hopefully they get on our YouTube, or they want to jump in here in the commentary box and have a chat with us. Let us know what's going on there in the back, because we were expecting to see the Alco holder DPR entry just maybe could make another position or two there, but just somehow faded away, and we hope them all the best. And it's just maybe an internet issue with the storm or something, bit of a power outage. Hopefully that's all it is. A bit of a move here now as it looks like Brett Loxton getting overtaken by Todd Hayne in the Taipan Esports entry. Todd has been the quicker of the two brothers, would be, I would say, now. He's back in the car. Quite sure if he's going to finish his stint off as Loxton goes wide in the dark.
And that for Hayne there will be just the beneficiary of being on those fresher tyres. We saw him come in lap 55. Lap 53. So he's looking a lot healthier than what we've seen there for Loxton. But Loxton didn't put up too much of a fight there, which I'm a little surprised at. I mean, he's been in this championship for quite a number of seasons. Just erring on the side of caution. There's still a long way to go for these drivers. Just shy of 60 laps left in the books to knock off. So we know we can't win it from here, and we see a little bit of a moment there for Moore down the hill. He will hold on to that spot. With the lights fading, guys, it's starting to really remind me of what it's like at Sebring. When we get into the night there, we know that circuit, and or similarly Spa. Not a lot of light around most of this, which is going to make it very tricky, as you were saying, that for the guys to work their way through. And so far, so good. Not too many issues.
No, we've managed there. I think I'm expecting to see maybe it's a little bit more curb grabbing, just, you know, slight mistakes like that. Not quite finding that apex on the corner, maybe missing the brake marks. You see a little bit of a lock up there as the lights go down, and they sort of adjust. It's going to be very interesting now, because these drivers have been out there for quite a number of laps. Most of these drivers have done 20 odd laps out there now, and they're getting to the end of the tyre life. A few drivers have come in just before the sun's gone down. They've just had a little bit of daylight in the background. People like the Taipan Esports there of Todd Hayne. Will that be an advantage? Is that strategic? Get them out there while there's a little bit of light, just to get their muscle memory back to get the cars around, or it just so happens that they try and do the undercut? I'm not quite sure, but to get a fresh driver in there who last stint was out in the daylight, now is coming into what is nighttime, not sunset, but nighttime, could really be a challenge for them.
Yeah, it will be a challenge, and for anyone who's sort of stuck around iRacing long enough, or any of the other sim racing platforms out there, to do a bit of an endurance race, it's always tricky going from the daylight, letting the night settle in, and then having to jump back in. All your reference points are gone, and that in itself is a tricky one, as we see another moment there for Visma running very, very wide, and that there is a prime example of that. You lose that braking marker that you've set up throughout the course of the race, and a lot of these guys are using the signs on the track to help them through. But when you lose that visibility, as we're still seeing here, it makes it very tricky to navigate your way through. And I think, by coming in that little bit earlier, like you're saying, get a lap or two under a little bit of daylight conditions, reset your mind, is where you want to be. But going forward doesn't help the incoming drivers, though.
They would have done a little bit of practice maybe this week, so hopefully they just know where the points are they want to pick. But you know, we've just come into night time, and just to make it that a little bit trickier, we're at the end of the stint, so the tyres are hurting. We're getting light fuel loads, and we're getting dark. So you know, like you say, probably better to be following a car. Unfortunately, though, if the car in front is not at the pace you're at, you're going to have to go by, and you're going to have to be that lead car, a little bit less light there for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be great to have a quick look while the sun's now starting to go down where our track conditions are setting up for, because if we saw just prior to this, it was down around 18 degrees, still hovering around 18, 19 degrees track temp at the moment, which I don't think we'll see probably get much cooler than that. It'll play out very nicely as Kidman there with a moment into 13. He's able to gather that car up, get back underway there. So now it comes down to the tyre strategy where the guys want to set the bar. Now they've all practiced during the week in the day, expecting it would have been a daylight finish. This is going to throw a big spanner in the works on how this is all going to unfold, and not really sure how much adjustability a lot of these guys are going to have available to them in these cars.
We'll have to wait and hold out, because we're looking at the front runners there like Andrew Dyson, Jordan Ross. Now the last lap's still pretty quick. Andrew Dyson's still at 2:06.78, which, considering the tyre wear, the visibility, that is still a reasonable time, even when we saw some of the cars in daylight. More people out in as well, so they're going to duck away and grab some tyres. We'll have to wait and see if we see a driver change in them as well. Can't be too far off though, another pit stop from most of the drivers out there. Check it out. Coming up here, Van der Sande staying behind, letting these two fight it out at the moment. Kinman on the inside, on the outside. Van der Sande nearly puts the nose down the inside, but they're too wide here, these two. Kinman and Mazzamo side by side. Mazzamo goes in front, Kinman has to pull him behind. We duck into this little S section here.
Yeah, Kidman there being offline on entry, that's really going to throw him there, as we see almost contact from Van der Sande there, just trying to work his way through. He did nothing wrong there, but it was that entry for Kidman that threw his rhythm off through that area. Down into wall 12. Bismar's got a nice run here. We'll see whether he's able to send one down the inside. He just pulls out of it last minute. He's going to go the short exit there. Didn't work in his favour. He gets a big lot of wheel spin, and that might open him up for from an attack. But it looks like Todd Hayne a little bit further back. While that's all going on, the top three now in the lane for the next round of stops. Dyson, Ross, and Borg all come in.
Right over my left down. Top three in the pit lane.
Oh, contact with Zomo. Van der Sande, can he take advantage? Zomo goes in front. They've been exchanging that lead just down the straight, one in front of the other. They change position, they come back, they fight it out. Van der Sande move past here though, because I think he could probably have a little bit more pace though. He slides the car out and you have to see him correct that steering again.
Watch Van der Sande there, you can really tell that he is starting to struggle on those tyres. A long, late shift up through the gears for him as he worked his way through the middle part, but starting to really struggle on these tyres. Who's going to blink first? It's going to be Kidman to come in and get those fresh boots on.
Yeah, he pulls away. Van der Sande, they'll have to keep out there for another lap. Let's have a look though. Adam Briggs rejoining the race. He is in the lead though. The Dyson has changed out. He's taking a bit of a break. He'll go back to the smoker and cook us up a bit of a feed. Well, thanks to the Phoenix Smokers, and Adam Briggs will take the reign. So the effective leader at the moment is Adam Briggs, simriggs.com DPR entry. Tom Freo now back in the seat too. The Synergy Sim Racing. Shepard now has gone back a number of positions there with that pit stop and that change, and he has come out in pure darkness. Now, remembering in the race tonight, he's only done about 10 laps or 12 laps. So he's come out. I'm sure he's done plenty of practice laps around here though. You'll know this like the back of his hand, Corey Shepard, especially showing the racecraft that he's developed in the last few seasons. It is absolutely phenomenal from the young gun to be doing what he is at his age. Can't wait to see how he finishes this race. Hopefully we get the best out of him. A number of cars though that haven't done their pit stops yet, so they're out of sequence of what our leaders are.
So for those guys yet to come down the lane, we've got Jamie Dyke still sitting out there Alex Vandersant down in 5th position. He was last in on lap 33. Similarly, Dylan Thomas in the Fisher Motorsports entry, hovering down there in 14th position as well. So still a few guys to come through, get their stops under the way. As you say, I think for Corey Shepherd, he is going to need to get on with business. He is stuck behind a wall of traffic as Dyke now jumps into the lane. Got to be cautious about where he picks and chooses his moments because, as you say, did all the laps and probably all of his practice in the daylight. It'll be very different trying to work his way around here in the night.
Very different conditions to when he was out here earlier, because we have seen Brian Borg do those 2 big stints there with Corey Shepherd, just a small one, but they're done. So they can decide if Corey Shepherd is running the faster times and making that progress, whether he stays in the car. That's good for them as. We'll wait to see what unfolds now in the pit. So that means he will go back and take over from Jamie Dyke and Fishy Motorsports entry. Todd Hayne and Taipan Esports in 4th. He'll go up in 3rd. Brett Loxton behind him. So, you know, with all these people coming in, Brett Loxton and Thomas Hinds coming in early, it's put them in a good position now. Because now, as we reset it and go into the real order of where everyone is, they are in 4th position. So their pit stop strategy at the moment on point, Norrie.
Yeah, pit stop strategy for those guys is absolutely critical, and they look to be nailing it from here on out. But it'll be interesting to see as we fly through this this part of the race whether they're going to need to find some more speed.
Will be Kyle Stokes, so just in front of Corey Shepherd. You can see Corey Shepherd, the Mustang, getting right up on the back bar of Kyle Stokes. Corey Shepherd doesn't need to rush these moves, though. He does have quite a few laps left to go. So we're on lap 61. Dives down the inside around. As I say that, wants to prove me wrong.
Yeah, he took the words right out of your mouth there. He's like, bugger this, getting on with business, and he's done.
Just shut up. He's, look, we're on lap 61 of 117, so there's no point to get yourself caught up, make any contact like that. Definitely just work your way through the field, but he does. Kyle Stokes is going to get that position back. Corey Shepherd out wide there. Might have just missed that braking point a little bit wide, but definitely pulls back in front. Kyle Stokes, can he get the crisscross done here?
Not close enough.
The opportunity at this point to duck in behind Corey, who has been quite fast. Corey, though, still trying to find his points on the track. And with Kyle Stokes behind him with that additional lighting, really could help him. Work together to try and make this happen. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, opposing teams, though, do they want to do that, or does Corey Shepherd just want to get on with this race? Because we saw the times that he was pulling last time.
Oh, I can guarantee you there'll be no love lost between those two. They will not be looking to help each other out as this race progresses on. It's each driver and team for himself, and they're going to press on and see what they can do. The next driver up the road for Corey Shepherd, Brett Loxton. He is 14 seconds up the road, so it's going to be a big charge now for Shepherd to try and close down that gap and get onto the back of him if he wants to work his way through. As we see in the YouTube chat, Jamie Dyke hoping for no more safety cars through the conclusion of the race. They've put themselves into a really good spot in the Fishy Motorsports entry as well, so they'll be looking to work their way through, as we almost saw some contact with Cam Dance and Adrian Blocker down through that 14 and 15 corner complex. Just in behind that, Sebastian Flock is back on board the 717, and he is on a bit of a charge to claw his way through the field now.
So the Power Slide Motorsport living up to its name, wasn't it, in the last few laps for Van der Sande? Giving out a few power slides coming out of some of those corners, but fresh boots on. See how they can settle this car down and where they can position themselves for the second half of this race. Brett Loxton, just having a look at him, he is still holding out Corey Shepherd, who is trying to close that gap to him. So it looks like we got Hayne, that's Todd Hayne, Brett Loxton and Corey Shepherd not too far apart, about 1 second apart from each other. Soon I'm sure they'll be entangled in a little battle between those three, which will be for third position. Briggsy still 5.5 seconds out in front, so they have a nice little gap, I suppose, from the rest of the pack. Starting to come to some lap traffic, though, as you can see them going through past Matt Monday in 20th position as well. Still nothing from Ken Latta. We haven't heard him. Hopefully
No.
that we can find out what's going on with him.
Yeah, unfortunate for Ken. He was having a really strong run there, and that car has not returned back to circuit following the disconnection we saw earlier on in the piece. His last lap, lap 50, so 12 laps ago.
So just having a look, Corey Shepherd though, he has just done looks like he might have done a 2:06.65, which is pretty quick. Rick Kuznetsov is back out there now. He is flying, and he's another one. We sort of said the A and the B drive, and we know there's not too much when it comes to the skill, but it just A drive is a little bit quicker. Rick Kuznetsov, how is he going to go in the dark? Relatively new to the AOSC, improving each round and a couple of races. He's back with Sebastian Tixi. They lost a few positions there in the opening part of the race. He's back in 7th position at the moment, but super fast when it comes to the times, back in the 2:06s as well. So very similar with his way through. Well, we see a Premier Racing Team 1-2 on the podium. Remembering that Premier Racing Team in the championship at the moment, Corey Shepherd in 1, Brian Borg in 4th, and Rick Kuznetsov in 5th. So out of the top 5 positions in the championship, it's 3 Premier Racing Team drivers.
Similar to what we saw last season with DPR, where they kind of got a bit of a stranglehold in the minor placings there. And for Premier Racing, they've turned up full show of drivers, and everyone's contributing massively to the team advance as we keep an eye further down now. Cam Dance getting himself settled into the rhythm as Hansen and Blocker start their own little scrap there. I don't know what happened with the timing at the moment, but it looks like the whole track got a huge amount darker just recently, and that will really be presenting some unique challenges for these drivers. We might take a ride on board here with one of the guys soon, just to put a lap around to see what it's like taking a supercar around the circuit of the Americas in the dark. Could be interesting watching. Yeah, so we'll jump on board here with Adam and check out what it's like from a driver's eye perspective. So that was an interesting look there, just as we rode on board with Adam Briggs around the circuit there, just struggling for the lights. And as we have a look further back, we've got Kyle Stokes, Brett Loxton serving it up amongst each other. A little bit of contact there. Stokes is able to hold on to that one. Lovely drift to get that one through, Matty. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, that was a slide, mate. It was a bit of a slide job. No handbrake in that one. I'll rate that. Look, he missed the apex in the corner. Probably didn't hit the clipping points, but you had to go. So, we'll put him in that intermediate zone.
Yeah, good recovery there. A little further back now, Flock, Hansen setting up their own little scrap down towards turn 13. See whether these guys are able to set this one up. Looks like for Flock here, got the inside line, should be able to recover it, but we have seen so far over the course of this run tonight, guys have been able to hold on to the outside here and redress that position. And looks like Hansen, he'll hold my beer and gets it sorted as he gets one back down the inside. Flock's going to return serve, see whether he can sort this one out to head up in towards turn 14.
Very interesting getting on board there, watching how dark it has got around the circuit. You see it through these shots as well. While these guys are driving together, probably a bit of an advantage because the car behind you on a slightly different angle gives you the opportunity to see around the corner. Those cars on their own, and they've only got their own headlights there. Although you can see the corner you're coming up to, you can't see around the corner what you can see before. So, one, you hope there's no one obviously spun around. Hopefully they got their lights on and you can see them. But two, it's understanding the track and knowing it so well to know exactly where to put the car, because you're only going to see that 8.5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And the sight picture that you do get around here, going from a day to night, entirely different to what these guys would have practiced all throughout the weeks forward to get ready for this one. They've had a 2-week break, and yeah, this would be a big challenge being thrown their way to adjust to. Nicholas Timor, sorry, having a good run back to 14th position. This car's had a bit of a storied night tonight, gone up and down throughout the field, back to where they started. He's got Adam Blocker now right on the back of him as they work their way down in towards the very tight turn 12 and head up to, or turn 11, sorry, and head up towards turn 12.
Yeah, we know that there's quite a few drivers here noting off tracks at the moment, and I don't think their crashes and stuff. It's just probably missing those braking points of that in the dark and just going a little bit wide. You can see the big screen in the background, nice and bright. It's Timor's Premier Racing team, the 31, and just holding out Adam Blocker behind in that Power Slide Motorsports entry. Obviously with Van der Sande teamed up tonight. Unfortunate for them to be back down at 15. They were looking to be probably around the position 10 mark earlier in the race, but unfortunately they did turn around the car and put them back a number of positions, having to work their way back through the field at the moment. Kyle Stokes trying to get back up to Todd Hayne there in position number 5. We'll see how he goes. Rick Kuznetsov fast still, and 206.42. Corey Shepherd at 206.12. Up to 3rd position now, so he's got past Todd Hayne and now in P3, Corey Shepherd, and closing in on Tom Freer and Adam Briggs. So the night, or the lack of light, I suppose, for Corey Shepherd has not stopped him.
No, he seems to be one of a few drivers really able to sort of still press on as the night unfolds. I'm just doing a quick tally through our off tracks that we've seen here at the moment. Currently, the worst offending team out there, the 717. They're looking at 49 incidents so far, or incident points going through. One of the cleanest teams out there is the car we're looking at the moment, Nick Timor's. Only 10 incidents for these guys so far over the course of the run. They've done a standout job keeping that one on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, they've definitely done an astounding job tonight, and they're getting in these nice little battles now with the limited light in the background. These guys were having a nice little stoush, I would say, their position. It'll be very hard to get away. We have seen some of the faster cars, they've slowed down significantly, especially some of our leaders, Adam Briggs and Tom Freer. Probably a second off what we have seen them a little bit earlier, even with the fresh tyres on. The night time obviously coming with its own set of challenges there, which Corey Shepherd just defies, as well as Rick Kuznetsov. They're defying that. The Premier Racing team coming in strong at the moment, and this night racing looks like that is really going to bring them back into contention for a podium finish here tonight.
Yeah, it will work out really, really good for them. And it's that age-old thing of it's all about consistency, especially in these long races. It's, we've seen it time and time again where the guys have pushed a little bit too hard early on and put paid to what could have been a good night. Consistency is going to get you those championships and the points there, and they're doing what they've got to do to press on nicely and accumulate the maximum.
Yeah, they definitely are. But Corey Shepherd, I can see he is catching up to position number 2, though. Tom Freer is not too far away. He'll be getting glimpses, especially in the night time. You can see the headlights and the tail lights in front, and see the headlights moving around. So he'll be getting eager to get really on the back of that and under the rear wing and make those moves here. You can find those breaking points. That's what he'll be looking for.
Absolutely. We might quickly jump up to Corey Shepherd. We've got his teammate Brian Borg just sitting in the waiting room. We might bring Brian in, have a chat and see how things are unfolding for these guys as well. G'day, Brian. Welcome to the commentary box, mate. It's been a great run for yourself and Corey so far, and in some very changeable conditions. We've gone from the day to the night. Talk us through your race so far, mate.
Very I don't like this track, guys, so yeah, it's obviously got off to a good start and was able to stay out in front, not doing it easy with Adam Briggs's car. He's got some speed down the straight, but yeah, just had to drive it. Obviously they were fuel saving behind and stuff, but yeah, coming back now, and yeah, it's very dark at the moment. Very hard to pick your markers.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been talking about that a little bit through the time of the transition, and for yourselves and Corey, obviously both got a bit of a chance to cut some laps. Obviously, you've done the lion's share of it so far. For Corey, how is he finding the change coming from the few laps that he got prior to the safety car period to now being back behind the wheel in effective pitch black?
Going by his lap times, not much, I'm guessing, but I did tell him to obviously ride on board and, you know, just get a feel for what he's looking at as well out of the cockpit. So I did tell him where, you know, things were a little bit difficult to see apexes and stuff, but that's what a good teammate does.
Absolutely. And looking forward, we've got an hour and a half left on the clock here. Still plenty of racing to get home. How is things starting to shape up for you guys? Are we likely to see you back in the car for another stint, or have you guys pretty well settled on where you can go? And obviously, without giving too much of the information away at this point in time.
I've got to look through things with numbers, but I'm pretty good that Corey's good to go to the end. Yeah, so I think he definitely will be going to the end. We made that decision very late to do that driver swap in that safety car, and I think that's what's given us sort of like we lost in the safety car, but now we're gaining that back.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that'll be a good run through as this one presses on. If the track stays green like it's doing at the moment, you guys definitely be back in contention. He's only 2.5 seconds away from the lead of this one at the moment, so not looking too bad at all. Obviously, with the track being as different as it is, and what you guys would have prepared for earlier on in the season, or in the week coming into this one, do you think you've still got enough adjustability left in the car if conditions do change more than they currently have?
I was going to think I was going to say the same thing about, yeah, the only thing that can change is if the sun comes back up, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah, fair point. Mate, look, it's been a good showing from you guys so far tonight. We saw a fantastic scrap earlier on. I think Nori may have tried to throw you under the bus a little bit with something in the commentary, but you'll have to go back and check that one out post-race. And but while this one continues on the way it's going, mate, it's looking to be a good show. And you guys obviously still fighting extremely hard for the championship, trying to get all the cars up into the top 3 at the moment.
Yeah, well, cars are going good, but a little birdie told me that I was the old man of the series. Is that what Norrie threw me under the bus on, or?
Norrie did no such thing, Ryan.
Oh, okay. No, that's all good. I'm happy to be a part of the furniture, but anyway, maybe there's something else that Norrie said, but anyway.
It's a season competitor.
I've been called a lot of things by Norrie. I've been called... yeah.
Look, you guys are doing fantastic, mate, and cannot wait to see how you guys press on. Grab a quick shout out to all your sponsors before we want to let you get back and help Corey with his charge coming forward.
Yeah, big shout out to RaceKraft Simulations. Obviously, they're doing an awesome job within our team, and you know, spreading their company around with you know, being in the series, being on our cars, and you know, having their own car in the series as well. So big shout out to RaceKraft and John. Obviously, Herod Performance on the Mustangs. I have a new sponsor, so sorry, I've just gone blank. But PPG, Isuzu Trucks, Authentic Collectibles, TMB Cleaning, Kookaburra Cafe. For mum and dad, for Corey's parents as well, who help in the background. Yeah, and everyone involved in the team.
Awesome, mate. Well, look, you guys press on. An hour and a half still left on the clock. 47 laps still to go. And looks like Corey shaping up very quickly here. He's got half a second to close on to Briggs before he's possibly able to take back the lead of this race.
Looks like it's about to happen. So, yep, thank you guys. Thank you for the great broadcasting. And yeah, cheers, guys.
All the best, mate. Hopefully we'll have a chat to you at the conclusion of this one.
Thank you.
Well, great to hear from Brian Borg and Corey Shepherd, obviously his teammate on track at the moment. You can see he's just about to have a challenge there for P1 and get the lead back in this race. Oh, no, there we go. Briggs gets a little bit defensive. But Corey Shepherd's got about a second a lap on him, so definitely got the pace there. Briggs, a little bit of a moment there, shows him a bit of a defensive move. It's not going to happen, though. Corey Shepherd gets him there under brakes and looks like he'll get the drive as well, so Briggs will have to pull him behind. And maybe this is an opportunity for Briggs to possibly just try and stay on the pace at the moment in this dark situation here where the lights are a hell of an advantage. The more light you have, the better it can be. So if you've got a braking point, you can use them. Looks like
a little bit of contact. It looks like he's using Corey as the brake marker there. A little bit of contact on the run into turn 15 there. And Freya now takes advantage of that. He slots himself up into second position.
Yeah, and this could end up being very good for Corey Shepherd because Tom Freya and Adam Briggs get stuck in a battle. That'll give him an advantage. Although he does have the pace, it means it just he could open up an even larger gap at the front. But one mistake can bring it undone, and that is the thing here we have seen throughout the season is one mistake at the front can bring things undone. We'll have to wait and see how things unfold. While we're on the Premier Racing team, though, like we didn't get to touch it with Brian, but Rick Kuznetsov. Wait for him to come through up to position number 6 as well. But he is still lapping those 206s. He is very, very fast, and he's in the same situation as Corey Shepherd is in. He can bring the car home from here, and he is the faster of the two drivers, and he just seems to be coming really into his groove at the moment. He seems to be having the confidence too as well. So I'll wait to see whether Rick Kuznetsov can get his third podium in a row here at round number 10, the Circuit of the Americas at AOSC. So he's got a second, where'd he come? A second and a third from memory? Yep, second and a third. So second at Suzuka, third at Daytona. Can he get on the podium again here? He'd love to get the gold, but I'm sure he'd be just happy anywhere on the podium. Rick Kuznetsov, can he get that done here tonight?
Yeah, he's definitely looking the goods at the moment with the pace that he's got on board that car as well.
Interesting comments from Brian Borg there about not liking the circuit. We've heard that a bit tonight. Wondering if we do a poll. Can anyone on Facebook and YouTube tell us if you like Circuit of the Americas?
Well, interesting. Oh, look, and I don't think it's just that. I was listening to the crew over at Midweek Motorsport during the day today, and again, very similar things said there. Massively bumpy circuit, hard to get around, and very technical in a Formula One car. So for the guys in the supercar doing what they're doing tonight, they are putting on a hell of a show for a track that is not very supercar friendly, and I think we're seeing some great racing as it presses on.
And not only do we do that, we give them a track where supercars obviously maybe not at home with. We give them 650 kilometres to do it, changing drivers, and then we take the daylight away.
Yeah,
that was just cruel.
This would have to be the hardest race this season, I would say, on the drivers.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Bathurst is, in its own right is a very tough track for these guys to get themselves around, but there being in the day, a little bit easier. This kind of a circuit where the lighting is at an absolute minimum, you've really only got those guys around behind you. It really brings something extra to the fold for the drivers. I think the guys in the chat earlier on were talking about what would it be like here if it was the Nürburgring without the headlights on the cars and track lighting. It'd be very difficult. So, yeah, doing an awesome job pressing on through. Looks like Dave Kidman, yeah, not preferring the track either. So, a lot of interesting comments coming through.
Is that Mickey T there? Not fan of the track either. You know, I racing with the supercars, yeah. So it was a shame we don't see Mickey T out there tonight, but yeah. Another one not really liking the circuit of the Americas, which is something to hear. Thomas Hinds, is he back in the car actually? I did not notice Thomas Hinds getting back in position number 10 in the Henry James Racing entry. He's just got past Dave Coleman. So good to see him. But Corey Shepherd, I just can't believe in these conditions that he's still running those 206s. That's what's really surprised me. In saying that, maybe the drivers at the front, Tom Freer and Adam Briggs, were a little bit comfortable up there and just thinking everything's cruising along, because since Corey Shepherd's got in front, they have sharpened it up and they have dropped a second a lap off their time as well. And managing to stay just behind him there, you can see they're definitely within the headlight reach, I suppose, or distance behind him.
Yeah, definitely. I think the tough thing is, though, when you're the leader and you're the first car out there, if you don't have the lights around you, trying to find your positions is always tricky. As a following car, it's always easier to go faster when you've got the tail lights of someone up in front of you. You get a little bit of an insight as to how the track's moving around in front of you, where the next position is you've got to look at, and you can use that to your advantage to try and keep that pace high. Shepherd, though, is definitely on another level tonight. He is driving exceptionally well. 206.5 last time by. Plays a 206.8 for Freer, 206.9 for Adam Briggs. Haynes a little bit slower off the back there, 207.7. So the guys, as you say, definitely starting to come back into contention.
Bit of comments going on there, and it's good putting their 2 cents worth in, but I did say David Kimmon managed to get a puncher somehow out there tonight. That's one I haven't really heard of before, getting a puncher around here, so that's very, very different.
Yeah, I'd love to know if that's a left front potentially that would have gone, because I think looking at that one, that was definitely the tyre that was going to cop the biggest amount of abuse around this circuit.
And Andrew Dyson's got in there, and mate, how's the smoked meat going tonight? That's what we want to know. That's the most important part. We just want to know how the smoked meat's going there for your teammate there. He's back in the hot seat there in third position now. Dropped back down to third, but holding on in the background there. You can just see Tom Freer. Lights up Tom's Freer car for us so we can see the JK sign riding down the side. You can see Jordan Ross, I'm sure, will get back behind the wheel of that car at some point to finish off the stint. Of course, remembering that we do only have 44 laps left in this race, so we will see one more stint change, possibly two. What do you reckon, Norrie, from here? I mean, they came in at lap 59, most of them. Is that right? Am I reading that right? Around lap 60, 59, 60. So we could potentially still have two more pit stops here to bring the cars home.
Yeah, definitely about 2 pit stops remaining based on my abacus, and it looks like they might need to stop twice for fuel load. But most drivers are done driver's laps to the end, so it's just a matter of if the fuel can hold them out, but definitely 2 stops remaining.
Well, it's good to hear that most teams will have a preference of driver then to bring this one home. We could see some changes there, I suppose, in the positions up on screen. Wait to see how Kuznetsov is going, whether he's gaining there in position number 6. Having a look up on the map, he's definitely catching up in position number 5. Kyle Stokes. We'll have to wait and see if he can catch him and maybe make a move. Todd Hayne doing a fantastic job back behind the wheel of the Taipan Esports car. I mean, Adam Hayne did a great job to hold on there through some tough times as had a lot of competition going on, and there were some people trying to push their way through in the standings. And Todd Hayne got back in the car there just before the sun went down. Got into the groove and holding into that 4th position behind the names of Corey Shepherd, Tom Freer, Adam Briggs, and Adam Briggs, in 4th position. So Todd Hayne, I'm just having a look to see where he has finished. Actually, I think he has finished in 4th before, back in Barcelona, round number 7. That's been his highest ranked finish. Again, I'm going to say it, anything can happen in the final few laps. You just never know. So while he's just holding out the back there, although he's a little distance off the top 3, There might be an opportunity possibly, and maybe they've just got a pit stop strategy up their sleeve to find out if they can get their first podium here in AOSC. Could it be season number 11 where they get it? Possibly could be, all thanks to Jinx Shifters and RaceKraft Simulations. We've gone over the 200 races for AOSC last week. It was our big celebration for 200 races, and this week it is race 201. We need to thank all the sponsors as part of the series, past and current, but currently we need to thank AJ Insurance Services, Team 126 Racing in the States, COTA Industries, Race Circuit Art Australia, simrigs.com, and once again, Jinx Shifters and RaceKraft Simulations for season number 11. Can't wait to see how they unfold. Don't forget our Drive of the Day points being added up at the moment. We've still got, obviously, the last remaining 7 rounds to calculate, and that will be a Simrigs pedal set being given away, all thanks to RaceKraft Simulations and simrigs.com for Drive of the Day. And we'll have to really have a think about this one, boys, because there's been some fantastic performances here tonight so far.
Yeah, there have been some really strong drives from all the guys out there, and still plenty of time left in the books to put their name forward for consideration, especially into that awesome looking pedal set. So keep an eye on that. Big thing we're going to need to really start keeping an eye on here, guys, is the off-track limits for everyone. They are starting to creep up closer and closer, and potentially soon might start to see some drive-through penalties being issued. So we'll keep an eye on that as it unfolds.
Yeah, you can barely see the Type N Esports livery on the side in the darkness, and just showing how pitch black it is, and cars coming up behind providing a little bit of light. And a few more there's a few more people starting to comment, so surprising we haven't seen the off tracks here. We're going to have to watch those as this night race continues on. But getting around at the moment, Shepherd in front, Freer in second, Briggs in third, Payne back in fourth, Stokes in fifth, Kuznetsov in sixth, Whiting seventh, eighth is Freeman, Rob Bowden in ninth, and rounding out your top 10, Thomas Hins back in the Henry James racing car. So they put himself back into a little bit of contention for a top 10 finish, considering they started right down the back in 22nd at the start of the race. Rick Kuznetsov, though, is the car we are following up on screen at the moment. He's doing everything he can, catching up to Kyle Stokes in the Synergy Sim Racing. Getting that gap ever so closer. He's got an advantage, though, being behind. He can see the lights moving around of Kyle Stokes. He knows where he is.
Yeah, Stokes is not doing anything wrong here. He's just pressing on with the lap, just picking his marks and making sure he hits the apexes, and in doing so, doing a phenomenal job just to keep Kuznetsov behind him. As Todd Hayne now first again. He's been the first driver on all 3 occasions that we've come down the lane for green flag stops to jump in first and knock over that pit stop. So we'll keep an eye on that. Should be another driver change for these guys as they continue on. For Kuznetsov, though, again, very, very racy as they head up into turn 1 to start lap 76.
No, let's have a talk about being a bit more defensive at night time with the amount of light you got out there, not being able to see things. Obviously, you get in that groove, you understand where your markers are with the lighting you have. If you're the car out in front at this point in this battle, if you're Kyle Stokes, how hard is it to be defensive that if you make that change of line, you may miss that mark where you've got so used to seeing lap after lap?
Incredibly difficult for the lead car in that position because, as you saw with Brian Borg earlier in the race, he was able to put the car exactly where he wanted it on the inside of the corner and really hold up that preceding car. What you have now is you've got headlights which, you know, do diddly squat, and you've got to try and see the road in front of you and then hold up a car behind you, and all you can see is just 2 headlights. So it's incredibly difficult for the drivers to block at this point of the race. But the ones who are able to do it well are doing a fantastic job, and it makes passing harder for the preceding car because they've really got to find a gap where they can jam those 2 headlights down and, you know, pass the forward car and get the move done.
Well, that was my feeling as well, that it was going to be very difficult for the lead car to take that defensive line because, yeah, once you get out of that normal groove, it's finding your way back in there very quickly, and especially with the amount of incident points, everyone will be starting to watch those as well. And we'll have to keep track as they go. Looks like Hayne is out of the pits. Adam Hayne now getting behind the wheel and comes out in ninth position in the Taipan Esports entry. And Rick Kuznetsov gets promoted to fifth position. Kyle Stokes promoted to fourth. Top three still out there. Can't be too far away from grabbing some fresh boots on those ones. Can't be too far away from a number of cars coming in the pit stop. Stephen Kokoski's in the pits also decided to come through. Matthew Monday looks like the Fisher Motorsports engine may have pulled out as well. Not quite sure if that's in that issue or just struggling out there, so he decided it's time to have a cold beverage. Maybe that's all it was.
Boys, definitely going to need a cold beverage after tonight here. Just having a look back at the comments in the chat, just as we were talking about the setups in the cars earlier on. David Kimman just letting us know that that puncture that he got left front, he got it all the way down to a 0 on the inner edge of that tyre. So guys are using a lot of camber to try and get these cars through there. That's unfortunate for him, but he put on a great fight, and hopefully with the track continuing to cool, that will allow them back into contention. They're not that far off the pace here at the moment.
Yeah, hopefully that is. And while I've been talking, Rick Kuznetsov got the move done in the Premier Racing Team number 8 and moves himself into 4th position. And next on the radar will be Adam Briggs, although there is quite a fair bit of gap between Kuznetsov and Briggs, probably around about 16 seconds. When you look on the track map there, he's got quite a few corners to get through if he wants to catch up to him. Not undoable at the moment. Of course, we've got 40 laps left in this race. We're almost at the 3-hour mark. 40 laps remaining to see how it all unfolds. Adam Briggs lighting the way up in the background. You can see he lights up Tom Freer's car. But where's Corey Shepherd? Well, he's opened up a nice lead, almost 5 seconds. He has pulled away from 2nd and 3rd and now really cementing his position number 1. And hopefully he will not see a safety car because he's done all the work. He deserves to be out in front, but you never know. An incident, any sort of incident at the moment could cause some sort of issue there in a safety car. Would probably be advantageous for Tom Freer and Adam Briggs, although we still have pit stops to come. 2 pit stops by our estimations. 1 now, not too far away, and there'll be 1 more before the end of the race. Won't go the 40 laps, going about the mid-20s. Mickey T, race ending early. Well, we do have a 4-hour, so we do have a 4-hour limit. We'll have to wait and see what.
No, that's 75% rule.
The race. Race organisers have decided that due to the conditions, they will be calling 75%, as Dan said, and at lap 89, this race will be concluding.
There we go, big change. That means we're going to have to get 1 more pit stop though in Norrie, aren't we, to make this home?
Yes, that's throwing the abacus right at the window. So let me get back to you on that one.
Well, think about this. Adam Haynes come in for that pit stop. He has good tyres on. They are fueled up. If they can get a good run on here, and everyone has to do 1 more pit, if they don't have the fuel to bring it home, he could be in a good position here to make a number to possibly go better than 4th. Maybe he can get himself on the podium.
He might be able to, but the double-edged sword in that is he came in before the now subsequent announcement through race control. That car will be fat with fuel. Anyone coming in can play the strategy advantage of just get enough in there to get out and away. That almost mitigates that little bit of strategy that they were employing over the course of this event. But again, wait to see how it goes. Plenty of guys still with a lot of time to think about those stops.
David Coleman and Sean Thompson have both taken that opportunity immediately and jumped in the lane.
Look, I think if you know you're not going to make it home, you need to come in early, get the boots on, and just see it home. Why not do it earlier rather than later?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's what we're starting to see now. Everyone's starting to come in, get that last bit done. Freer, Briggs in the lane. Shepherd's pressed on 1 more time.
Yeah, I don't think there's any point risking any sort of wear on the tyres, especially when you're not going to use all of them. Just getting home in the final 10 laps now, as we're only going to lap 89. So if you just joined us in the broadcast here for AOSC on our YouTube channel, we are only going to lap 89 due to conditions out there tonight. The race being pulled in at 75%. So 10 laps remaining. They're not going to get home. Everyone's going to have to come and grab a dash of fuel A couple of people who came in early might upset their strategies a little bit. We'll have to let that play out and see what happens. And you can see Dyson, Kyle Stokes and Michael Whiting in the pit lane. At the moment, Rick Kuznetsov has now gone up to position number 2. Just having a look there, and that looks like Tom Freer's already out. As soon as you see him racing, they've come in for a very short pit stop. I wonder whether, judging by the pit stop times, guys, people haven't had a time to adjust that amount of fuel they were taking, because it looks like Andrew Dyson's taking quite a bit of fuel on. Or is that right?
Well, there'll be a driver change involved in that. If we think back to the stop we saw for Brian Borg and Corey Shepherd under the safety car, that was a 30-second stop there, and they didn't need a lot of fuel to go in that car. So, yeah, that was a driver change delay for those guys in getting back down and away.
Well, that's probably hurt. They'll hang back a bit from Tom Freer. Tom Freeman in the middle of those guys from Premier Racing Team. I suspect they will be in for some fuel though, so they will not be staying in that position. They'll move back a little bit. Kyle Stokes. Adam Hayne though hasn't got an advantage now in 7th position. Despite taking that fuel, like you say, taking a heavy fuel load earlier, you'll need to do a fair bit of work. They want to keep on pushing on a cup. Pit. So our race leader coming into the pits. I doubt we'll see Brian Borg back in the driver's seat. I would not think that was going to happen. Rick Kuznetsov, you think he's going to come in here? Well, let's watch as he pulls in the pits nice and early, not risking it. No need to throw it in late. So Rick Kuznetsov now will enter the pit as well. Our leaders in the Premier Racing Team, how will that go for Rick? He was trying to catch up to everybody in this.
The worst bit about this is pitting with your flashing lights going dark light, dark light.
You do not want to miss your pit bay, do you?
No.
That was a nice quick one, only 12 seconds of fuel up on the blocks very, very quickly.
He's pressed on. Where's Shepherd come out in all this? So Shepherd's got a 6-second advantage here now.
He's been super fast, though, hasn't he, really? He just keeps on pressing on with those impressive times in the dark. Gone for work. Rick Kuznetsov, is he come out in 3rd in front of Dyson? So that short pit stop there without the driver change has really been an advantage for Rick Kuznetsov, and it's looking like he might get his 3rd podium in a row.
Yeah, he's got himself a clear advantage for 3.7 seconds now over Dyson. Dyson will be very quick coming out of the blocks here though, but we don't know how much fuel's on board that car.
Yeah, that'd be, wonder how much fuel they did take on. Maybe you wouldn't think Briggsy would have been all over that in the sense that they wouldn't want to take the extra weight on. Unfortunately, the Hayne train, well, that's been loaded up, so it's probably slowed them down a little bit, those two, and possibly knowing about that, waiting a bit longer, maybe Todd Hayne would have stayed in control of that car. Not quite sure if Adam had the minimum laps done for the Type N Esports, but he's back in the car now. Kyle Stokes in 5th position, Andrew Dyson back in 4th, Kuznetsov now 3rd, Tom Freer in 2nd, who we're on board with right now, and Corey Shepherd with that 6.5 second lead out in front at the moment.
Yeah, just watching on this lap as they've pressed on there. Kuznetsov been able to put just on 2 seconds now over Dyson as he works his way back around the circuit. So that's a healthy net gain for him. He had a purple sector 2. 28.7, the quickest by far of anyone around the circuit. And in these conditions, that's a hell of a sector split for him.
Yeah, so the change in the laps in the race will obviously won't play out for a couple of the drivers out there, and possibly the Fishy Motorsport guys, Michael Whiting, Jamie Dyke, would have had a little bit better run on the way home as well, which is a bit unfortunate for those guys, but I mean, you know, sometimes we throw some, I mean, a safety car could change anything now, we may still see one. If you look at our race though, we're on the 81st lap, only 8 laps left in this race. Purple sector time's up for Corey Shepherd, sector 1, sector 3. Rick Kuznetsov, sector 2 has gone purple, so the Premier Racing Team Young Guns are flying out there in this night races. We just see Michael Whiting goes a little bit wide there coming out of that corner. About to turn onto the main straight, and he's got to watch out now. Tom Freeman, another one of the Premier Racing Team cars, looking very pacey at the moment. Cameron Dance just drops into the pits in position number 10, so he'll probably drop back a couple. Have to wait and see. Adam Blocker, 11th position. Can he get the pass done? AOSC11 Motorsport entry. So position number 9 is the car we're on board with at the moment. Just looking at Michael Whiting holding out in position number 8. Can the Fishy Motorsports team bring this home in P8 tonight? We do only have 8 laps left to run in this race.
Whiting running very wide there. He's going to get a slowdown penalty for that one. So Freeman able to get himself through there without too much issue.
Probably lucky there, noting the lights behind you, being careful of the re-entry onto the race circuit as well. So luckily there's no contact either, although the slowdown, you think Whiting managed to stay in position number 9 and block on quite close enough to challenge that one.
No, if you block it there, he'll just settle back into his position. So he's got 34 seconds to make up to Whiting. So that's a fairly big gap for those guys. I think they're probably going to be settled down in that 10th position. Freeman now, the next car up the road. Thomas in 6 seconds he's got to make up though if he wants to get in with a chance to have a crack at the 7th position there. See whether he's able to pull back that advantage as he presses on here. And a purple for Rick Kuznetsov, 2:05.34 at this stage of the race. That is a very, very quick lap. He was the fastest car on circuit. Shepard did do a 2:04.84, but that included an off track through that lap.
Yeah, I was looking at that, but mate, at 2:04.84, that is super fast. Middle of the night, only running on lights. End of this, toward the end of this endurance race. I mean, I know we're only going 75%, which means I'm going to do some quick calculations to say we're about 500 kilometres. That's where we're going to be, somewhere around there. 480, 490 kilometre race. 89 laps here tonight around Circuit of the Americas. We've only got 6 laps left, or 6.5 laps left to complete in this race. We're not too far from the end. Tom Freeman, we're on board with the Premier Racing team at the moment. Corey Shepard's got a nice little lead out in front, extending that out to about 10 seconds at the moment. Tom Freer in second. Rick Kuznetsov in third. He's possibly going to run out of laps to catch up to Tom Freer. Possibly, however, he is catching a 2.5 seconds a lap. So we might see the final few laps. It could be a nice little battle going on for P number 2 as well. Will it be a 1-2 from the young guns of Premier Racing team? What a finish that would be for them, especially in the championship. With Rick Kuznetsov starting to make a charge in the points.
Cam Dance having a moment there with Dave Coleman and Rob Bowden up into turn 1 there. Dance just going to have to concede that position down through the S's here. See whether Coleman can close that gap up. It looks like he's going to be able to with Cam Dance really trying to work to get that move back. Not quite there. You're going to get on the 2 wheels. He's going to lose the spot for his effort and down the inside, nearly making contact. Dave Coleman just firing one in there in the Fish Motorsports entry.
Yeah, unfortunately, you lose the position. Cameron Dance comes back at him. Dave Coleman won't hold on to that position in the Fishy Motorsport car. Has a look down the inside though. Can he pull the car up and get this turned around? Dance goes out, makes a bit of room. Looks like he gets a good run though.
He's able to press on, get a little bit of a gap, and he'll set himself up nicely. We'll see whether Coleman now can set up for the move down to 13. Challenging. He's got a little bit more of a pace advantage, but he just gets on the brakes just that smidgen earlier and not able to make that move into there.
You're not looking too bad when you've got a couple of cars in front of you when it comes to the amount of light there. So in his position, probably has a chance there to make that move with 2 cars in front. As we do see a little bit of movement from the cars there. Not all traction when they take off too from the 2 in front from Rob Bowden and Cameron Dance, and Bowden working his way back through the pack, back to position number 11. They dropped back to about P14 early in the race. Dance just having a look down the inside. You can see in front on Rob Bowden. Bowden just staying on line. Going to get it done on this corner. Nice drive out for Dance to the inside lines. They head down the main straight. They're coming to complete another lap. Keep going. We only have 6.5 laps left in this race to finish things off. Our leader coming around. He's already most up to the car. We're on board with Dave Coleman. He's coming around to complete the lap. He's got himself a nice 11-second lead. He just gives his setting at another 2:05.72 on the last lap. Absolutely flying. We'll wait for Rick Kuznetsov to see what he pulls through with. Tom Freire goes through. Wait for the update of the times from him. 2:06.79, so he's 1 second off Corey Shepherd per lap. I'm sure George Ross is talking to him at the moment, letting him know the times, because he needs to watch out for Rick Kuznetsov, who's catching up fast. Kuznetsov goes through, goes at 2:06.24, so it's only half a second this lap.
Coleman there with a big wiggle on the exit of 12 there. That's going to not help his charge, trying to close back up to Rob Bowden. As you see, Coleman just losing a spot there. Sebastian Flock's going to try and send one up the inside, the 717. See whether he can make this move stick. We see Coleman just stick the nose in there, but Flock going to get that one claimed, and he now jumps up into 13th position.
Yeah, nice little move there, and does it quite cleanly for Sebastian Flock. Shoots him racing, gets himself promoted up into 13th position. Now, spread out the field a little bit. Looks like we've got a little bit going on back between Thompson and Tom Freeman there, or is it Michael Whiting? Tom Freeman over Michael Whiting back in position number 8. They're only a second and a half apart. Just want to see if Rick Kuznetsov can make an impression there on that intermediate gap up to Tom Freire. Can he get close enough to battle him in the final few laps as they come around? Corey Shepherd leading this race, about to complete lap 84. Big dive here though from Coleman. It's a bit late there. Wasn't going to get a move done, I would think then. Still took the dive.
Yeah, a little bit far off to make that one work, but able to get out of it just in time to avoid any issues as we jump back up to Sebastian Flock. Chasing down Rob Bowden. Cam Dance has been able to get away just a fraction here and give himself a little bit of breathing room as they head up towards the back straight.
Corey Shepherd has completed 84 laps now, 5 laps remaining in this race. We're coming to an end. It is being brought forward to 75% due to racetrack conditions and the lighting. So 75% of this race now only going to get completed 89 laps here in round number 10, Circuit of the Americas, all thanks to Jinx Shifters and RaceKraft Simulations. It's going to be a hard one to look at tonight, and we'll look for drive of the day. Quite a few strong competitors tonight and performances put in. Corey Shepherd still lapping in the 205s. Seems to have that Premier Racing Team car on rails at the moment.
Yeah, he's been pressing on supremely in that car, and given the conditions, not had too much of an issue. This fight for 8th position between Whiting and Freeman still heating up. There's not much of a gap between either of these two. They've been almost inseparable most of the night there. We saw Freeman have a little bit of a moment earlier on where he did loop the car around, but has clawed his way back up into contention following that one. So a nice drive there, and Michael doing everything he needs to do to keep going.
You can see the lights in front. He just wants to catch him. Final few laps. Can he make one more position? Possibly he can. So Michael Whiting sitting in position number 9 in the Fishy Motorsport entry. The cabins are dimly lit, just enough for him to see the gear shifter and the steering wheel. Rear brake rotors illuminated on every car. Isn't it funny how it does not matter what you do with the brake bias there, they just, iRacing likes to illuminate those back rotors. It does look good at night time though. Lets us know where the cars are.
Yeah.
It's actually a glitch since the latest update.
Yeah, it's been in play for a couple of updates now, and it's not just the supercar that's had this issue as well. A couple of the GT cars similarly got the rear brakes glowing. It's almost like they've just got it reversed, and yeah, not the best look.
Rob Bowden in position number 12 there. The tank SRT entry has lost a position there to Cameron Dance, who's moved forward, and hasn't he been good behind the wheel tonight, Cameron Dance?
Yeah, he's driven phenomenally well. We saw that opening stint for himself. Very, very good. Seen Simon Mazzomo in the chat calling for Cam as well, just carrying him on the way through there. But no, these guys have done awesome to work that way through. And after starting down towards the back of the grid, you know, we saw them really pushing through early on and making up fistfuls of positions to get themselves into a good spot.
Good to see Alex Court too back out in the After Dark sim racing car. He came into the commentary box early, and the number 44 had a bit of a chat with us. He's going to finish off this race tonight.
After dark.
One of those ones, yeah, after dark. It's going to be very dark for him. Maybe we can turn the headlights off. It'll be really dark.
It's the first time that pun's worked all day.
Of course, Corey Shepherd now about to complete lap number 86. So only 2 laps remaining in this race for him. We're going to finish on lap number 89, so 87 laps completed. 86 completed. So 3 laps remaining in the race. It is late. Maybe I should have retired at 70%.
Would that have helped things?
I don't know. Maybe I'm not that helpful to start with. So Corey Shepherd with a nice lead in this race at the moment. It's gone out to 12.1 seconds. The lead over Tom Freer. Rick Kuznetsov doesn't seem to be closing that gap down to Tom Freer anymore, though the times there, he's still doing a second a lap faster, but there's not going to be enough laps in this race for Kuznetsov to improve on that 3rd position as long as he can hold this home. Dyson not too far behind them as well in 4th position. Then it's Stokes, Hayne, Hinz, Freeman, Whiting and Blocker to round out your top 10. Cam Dance, can he get in the top 10? What do you reckon the chances are? He's too far back. Maybe, just maybe, we could see him get in there if something happens to a car in front. What a performance it would be from him if he could make a top 10 finish tonight after starting out of position number 22. The throttle control motorsport entry. Rob Bowden just in the background helping light up the track in front of him. No car though in front. Not close enough to really make an impact at this point. He's just about to turn the main straight. 10th position's all the way down the other end. You can see it just turning around turn number 1. But with only a few laps remaining, I don't think there's going to be enough time.
Dance with a bit of a moment there, just missing the apex into 1. Bowden not close enough to capitalise though.
Yeah. I gave him the commentator's curse.
Well, you've done that a couple of times tonight now.
Yeah, it's not always me, but tonight it does seem to me I've taken on the essence of Norrie.
Yes.
I charge for that, you know.
You haven't been letting him teach you a few laps around the circuit, have you?
Well, I haven't taken anyone's car for a drive like we used to do, so therefore no one's had that much bad luck.
Why do I feel like I just got thrown under a bus? Again.
All right, it wouldn't be AOSC if we didn't do that to you, buddy.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Well, go racing and we'll see how many buses we can hit you with.
Watkins Glen, anyone?
Oh, Corey Shepherd.
I'll make it past turn 3 this time.
You might get past turn 3, maybe. Just maybe.
I will.
I've had practice.
So Cameron Dance, yeah, I don't think he's going to get up in the top 10, but he's in position number 11. Great race from them tonight. 11 position gain from where they started. Rob Bowden behind Tanked SRT. It's been up and down night for him and his teammate, but they have managed to bring the car home. He's currently sitting in 12th position with just these couple of laps remaining. We are only going to the end of lap 89 tonight. So, a cut short race. Circuit of the Americas, race number 201 in AOSC, all thanks to Jinx Shifters and RaceKraft Simulations here tonight. What we end up, we only saw the COTA Industries safety car out once tonight, bunched the field up, saw some short pit stops. And people got some driver changes done, some decided to stay out there. Then we see the race cut short by race controls. Dance goes wide again, Bowden might get this position back if that keeps happening. He's going to have one more opportunity to do it. Or two more opportunities. Corey Shepherd. He is now coming around on the final lap. Lap number 89. So Corey Shepherd on the final lap now.
Bowden's looking incredibly racy here on the back of Cam Dance there. He was monstering him through the S's for the final time, or second to last time actually. So guys head down to the back straight. See whether he's got an opportunity here to send one down the inside, but he can keep applying the pressure. He is going to set himself up for a nice shot here, and Flock also bringing himself back into contention. We've got some lap traffic just ahead of these guys, which I don't think will impede them too much, but something that they will need to keep an eye on.
Corey Shepherd, final lap, half a lap left remaining in here for the Premier Racing Team. Tom Freer got out wide, just doing some burnouts in the background. Someone, let me see who's going down the field. Is that Cameron? No, here we go. It might be, can't see who that was doing burnouts in the background. Anyway, Rob Bowden's got the move done back on Cameron Dance. Can he fight back, Dance? Bowden back up to position number 11. He had to wait his time. Might be Stephen Kokoschki there. He's had a bit of an off in the background. Coming around to complete lap number 89. Corey Shepherd not too far away from taking out this race with his teammate Brian Borg. We spoke to him earlier. They're going to be happy about this one. A shortened race, but it's still a win. He was dominating anyway. Very dark. Still running amazing. Even put a 2:04 in the books there. It was a qualifying time at one stage in the final parts of this race, even with the darkness. Comes around onto the main straight to complete this one. The virtual finish flag will be out for us. The flash of the lights, and Corey Shepherd from the Premier Race Team comes home with the win. Second will be Tom Freer. He comes around the lights now as he goes over the start-finish line. Him and Jordan Ross, position number 2, and a happy night on the podium. Rick Kuznetsov gets himself his third podium in a row. What a win from him. Andrew Dyson bringing home the Phoenix Smokers car in 4th position, so getting another swag of points for him and Briggsy. Kyle Stokes not far off now in 5th position. Synergy Sim Racing entry. And not far behind him will be Adam Hayne in the Taipan Esports with another great drive from the team. Here we go, Kyle Stokes completing this race now. Just having a look here though. I'm getting, no, it's all right. I'm just looking at something else there. So, well, Adam Hayne comes in 4th position, in 5th position. Tom Freeman in 6th. Michael Whiting in 7th. Adam Blocker in 8th. Rob Bowden in 9th. Cameron Dance in will be, well, they're moving around a bit for me now because everyone's exiting out back into the pits. So our timing system's going up a bit here, and we're not going to be able to show you the final results, so we'll just wait for everyone to get into the pits and we'll be able to read these ones out to you, of course. But the big news is Corey Shepherd and Brian Borg taking the win here at the Circuit of the Americas in a reduced 75% race due to the track conditions out there. In second will be Tom Freer and Jordan Ross, and Of course, in third position will be Rick Kuznetsov and Sebastian Tixier. And I believe that will be Sebastian's first podium and Rick's third consecutive podium for him too. So they'll be very... Oh no, we got Sebastian Tixier in there, didn't we? In the last big 650 at Suzuka, he teamed up with Rick Kuznetsov. So, you know, second time on the podium, third time for Rick Kuznetsov. The Premier Racing Team, 2 out of 3 on the podium. Fantastic finish for them. Dan, I mean, despite having to finish this race early, it's been some fantastic racing.
Yeah, it has. We've seen some great racing all the way from the kickoff of this one right through to the end there, and some very interesting challenges for all the drivers to navigate their way through. It was a late start to this one, concluded in the dark, and for all the drivers that were out there tonight, did a hell of a job navigating the supercar around the Circuit of the Americas in the dark while still retaining exceptionally good pace to get these things home. So hats off to everyone for having a run out there tonight. Some awesome points results for everyone. And yeah, looking forward now. Obviously, we're going to switch gears, go back to another circuit next time, another US circuit next time out, off to mid-Ohio. That will be a very different round, back into the sprint formats, which we cannot wait to see.
No, can't wait for the sprint format. Short, sharp, and exciting. And we definitely see a few more risks taken there. And of course, I mean, Corey Shepard will probably want to keep pushing on in his championship charge at the moment. We've got a 100-point lead over Adam Briggs, and I probably should be doing some updating in the background while we're doing this, so I can tell you how much he's going to be in front. Of course, official race results pending, and just in case anything does come through a little bit later. But yeah, it does look like he will extend his lead in the championship, Corey Shepard. Jordan Ross will get a nice swag of points as well. Good to see them in second position with Tom Freer tonight. And of course, it will help Brian Borg, who teamed up with Corey Shepard. He'll get some points as well. Get a good swagger of points. Rick Kuznetsov continues his charge in the top 5. And just maybe he could catch up to his teammates and see how they go towards the end of the season. Of course, we still have 6 rounds to go. Round number 11 will be coming from mid-Ohio. Of course, the full track there, 150 kilometres one, so the short sprint format back. Then we head to Road America, Summit Point, Donington, Snetterton, and then of course we finish things off with a big enduro back at Bathurst. It's your Friday night here on AOSC. Race 201 just completed, a shortened race to 89 laps there with track conditions. Of course, race control calling that one nice and early. Also need to thank all of our sponsors, Jinx Shifters, RaceKraft Simulations, Simrigs.com, Race Circuit Art Australia, COTA Industries, AJ Insurance Services, and a shout out to our Team 126 Racing from over in the United States. So we're going to see if we've got our winners here in the commentary box soon, whether we're going to catch up with them for a chat tonight. Corey Shepard and Brian Borg, our winners tonight. Of course, we can't bring the results up with the shortened race. It's hard for the overlay system to grab that as we were still driving around a bit. But it was Corey Shepard, number 1. Tom Freer and Jordan Ross in second. Rick Kuznetsov and Sebastian Tixier third. Andrew Dyson and Briggsy in fourth. Kyle Stokes in 5th position. The Hain brothers in 6th. Thomas Hinds and Brett Loxton in 7th. Tom Freeman in 8th. Michael Whiting, Jamie Dyke in 9th. Adam Blocker and, of course, Rob Bowden 11th. Cameron Dance couldn't get in the top 10 in the end, 12th. Sebastian Flock in 13th. Dave Coleman 14th. Sean Thompson 15th. Nicholas Timor 16th. Alex Corton 17th. Anthony Visma 18th. Stephen Kokoschki 19th. And Matt Monday and Ken Latta coming out a little bit early out of the race there in 20th and 21st. But our race winners are in the commentary box right now, and Dan's about to catch up with them.
Yeah, thanks, matey. Brian, Corey, congratulations, guys. It was another great win, 4 years there. Very different circumstances to when we started the race to when we finished it. But talk us through your run. Obviously, for you, Corey, how was it getting back in the car going into the darkness of the night?
Yeah, it was definitely different from my first stint, but yeah, I got used to it pretty quick. But it was pretty tricky being a track that doesn't have too much track lighting, so that was quite a challenge. But once you kind of got into your groove again and found some new braking markers that you couldn't quite see the original ones, it was all good.
Yeah, and it looked like once you managed to come back out into your stint, or the start of your stint through the dark there, you found some really good pace. Did it help having the cars ahead just to use as braking markers and obviously to see where the circuit was going, as opposed to later on when you managed to get yourself out in front?
Yeah, in a way, it is good to have cars in front of you because you've got their lights and you can kind of follow them. But yeah, you just kind of got to do what you can with what you've got. So at the end, obviously, without any cars around, we just had to kind of try and take it easy, make sure we kept it on the road and did the best we could.
Absolutely. And for yourself, Brian, what was it like? Obviously, we had a chat to you partway through the race, watching the conclusion of that one. How did you keep the nails on the fingers as that one wound down?
Like what I said during our talk in the race, it was obviously, it was difficult with the night. I just said to Corey, just find your feet and then go from there. But Corey's been doing it long enough. It's a bit tricky when you come up to the slower cars, obviously in the dark, and not taking anything away from them as well. But obviously, there's a bit of a speed difference between Corey and the slower cars. So being nighttime, you just got to adjust to a lot of things that you can't really see, like how it is during the day. So yeah.
Absolutely, and another good haul of points for you both there, heading on to towards the end of the championship next week or next time out, 5th of November. We're back for the 150 sprint format off to Mid-Ohio. A little bit different circuit here, a lot of undulation to work through, especially through the back half of the lap there. To you both, how do you find the circuit first off, and is there anything you can take in from tonight's event with the circuit and the setup that you might be able to translate across to Mid-Ohio?
I think what we found that each track is different with these cars at the moment, so we adjust to each track as it comes. Little bits you take from track to track, but you can't really just go from one track and just pop in the same setup. It doesn't really work like that, especially not for us. We have to adjust to what suits us. And I'm glad that this race is over, but happy with the result.
Absolutely. Corey, what are your thoughts on Mid-Ohio, mate? We've seen you have some good results there in the past.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've raced there once. I love the track, so it'd be good to go back there again. It's been a long time.
Awesome, fellas. Well, again, congratulations on the win tonight. Before we let you both go, we'll get a shout out from the team sponsors on board, and then let you go and enjoy the rest of your night.
Yeah, just an awesome result for the team. Also having Rick and Sebastian up in P3, so that's 2 cars on the podium. And we just give a big shout out to RaceKraft Simulations, Advanced Performance Machining, PPG Australia, Zuzu Trucks, Kookaburra Cafe, Motorsport Superstore, Herod Performance, and TMB Cleaning. And also to Corey, his parents as well, for what they do in the background for my mum and dad and my family. And yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for the broadcast.
Fantastic, gents. Well, enjoy the night. Congratulations again on another endurance victory for you both there and for the team. It's a well-deserved victory for you.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Corey Borg tonight, and another strong performance from him. We've seen him come through in earlier endurance races back in Daytona. Obviously, Corey Shepherd was very strong. Suzuka wasn't quite their race, but 4th position, but they are getting a swag of points in the back half of this series, and it's starting to tighten up now for that position number 2 when it comes to points. Adam Briggs looks like he's just holding out Jordan Ross and Brian Borg, so it's going to be an interesting fight now for that position number 2, with Corey Shepherd extending his lead just a little bit. But joining us in the commentary box, looks like we've got our runners-up tonight here, Tom Free and Jordan Ross. Welcome, guys, and another strong performance from both of you.
Go, Tom. He did all the work.
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, my brain's all over the place at the moment. There was calls going left, right, and center about what was happening, and yeah, it's a strong finish. It's a bit of a shame we didn't get to go the full distance. I really do think if we had Jordan in the car for the end of the race, we might have been able to be a little bit closer. But yeah, it is what it is. Everyone was in the same position, so yeah, not too bad. P2.
No, P2 is a good result, and some strong signs there from the team. Are you finding the setup of the car now, getting it pretty close each time? You're not struggling with setup with the car at this point in the season?
I don't know. I feel like we're a bit hit and miss. At some tracks we get it right, some we don't. I think tonight we were pretty close. We probably didn't have the tyre life we wanted to have, but yeah, the car was still quick over a stint, but we're just missing that little bit of extra pace to be able to do a little bit more damage late in the race.
Yeah, a few comments there from people starting to wear the inside of the tyres out. Is there quite a bit of camber to be run here at Circuit of the Americas?
It's hard to tell. I think everyone's very secretive about what they do with their cars. But I don't know. I think every team's different. Every driver's different. So yeah, different camber levels will suit different drivers and tracks. So yeah, it's a little bit hard to say if I'm honest.
Well, I don't think there was actually too much between you and Jordan tonight when we look at the times. Very hard out there at night time, I suppose, when you're on your own to maintain that pace and try and hit all those breaking points. But we go back to the sprint format in the next few rounds. Does it mean you're gonna let Jordan pass, or you reckon you guys can get in a bit of a race for us?
I'll never let Jordan pass. That's that's not how we work. If he wants to race, we can race. But yeah, 9 times out of 10 he's in front of me anyway, so I usually don't have to worry about that.
Well, are we gonna have a chat with you tonight, Jordan, or you happy to let Tom do all the work?
He's done everything all night. I just did like a little stint there and went and made a sandwich and steamed some dim sims, and I'm all good, mate.
Oh, we're just a little bit jealous. You're in the background. Sounds like you're having a cold one as well.
Yeah, I got the tin. I'm good. So yeah, no, I didn't even work up a sweat tonight. So let Tom do the whole bit and grab me a bag of points. I don't even know where that puts us, but whatever. We'll see where we wind up at the end of the season.
Mate, unofficially, I'm going to tell you you're about 30 points behind Briggsy for second.
We'll get him. We'll sort him out.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't even get on the podium tonight, mate.
No, he's over. He's done, mate. He's over the hill.
That's
Well,
rough.
Briggsy and Dyson are a 3 and a 5, so you can't throw a 2 in there, can you?
Sorry, what was that?
Briggsy and Dyson are normally 3 and 5, so we can't throw a 2 in there. We can't.
Just because we're usually 1 and 2, mate.
Yeah.
No, not really. No, look, yeah, Briggs is bloody fast, so he got caught out a bit tonight by the whole whatever was going on in the race. But he'll be back next race and he'll be strong, and we'll have to fight it out for the rest of the season.
Well, we got a few sprint races coming up, so they'll be short, sharp, and you'll have to get the elbows out way through to get some positions.
Yeah, we'll do, mate. Punt to pass, so we'll get the front bumper out and do some damage next few rounds.
There we go. Look, run through your sponsors. Thank you. You need to thank.
You're up, Tom.
What I would be. JK Signs and Novus Glass, Smith and Sons, all those guys obviously help us out, and yeah, it's great to have them on board our cars, and hopefully we can keep them up the front for the rest of the season. And obviously to you guys as well. You guys do a great job and put on the broadcast for us each week.
And well done to Borgie and Corey. They're on a bit of a roll.
Yeah, a bit of banter with the boys. I'm sure we'll be having some conversations off air a bit later. It's gonna be a bit of fun. And look, congratulations, guys, runner up tonight. Some more points in the championship, and yeah, strong heading into these sprint rounds to end us out into the season with only 6 left to go.
Thanks, guys. Catch ya.
There you go. Runners up tonight, Tom Ferreira and Jordan Ross. And interesting to see that they're still struggling with a bit of setup here and there, but secretive there on the tyre wear tonight, where we saw, Dan, that we did see a couple of blown tyres from guys really pushing the limits.
Yeah, we did. When I can't say anything bad about that. I'd be very secretive on the setups that are going around here as well, and I think every team's got that little bit of a touch that they're going to hold on to, especially if it's helping with a little bit of an advantage for each and every one of them as well. So. Yeah, can't discount them from that one.
Joining us in the commentary box, though, he's making, it's 3 out of 3 now up on the podium. Rick Kuznetsov, welcome there. Sebastian Tixie, you get another podium as well.
Yeah, it was awesome. Good recovery. It was pretty intense in the night, but yeah, it was good fun.
Amazing pace there, though, Rick, towards the end there, especially at the night time. Did you have trouble finding the braking markers and things like that, or is it sort of a bit of muscle memory?
For me, it was muscle memory. I knew my pointers already, so yeah, it was pretty good for me. Had to solve the pace all weekend, so pretty stoked with that.
Yeah, Sebastian, it didn't go all your way at the start of the race. You got pushed down a few positions there, but you managed to fight your way back.
Well, yeah, I got a shocker of first stint for sure. I got some issue with my shifting with my wireless steering wheel. So I spun 2 times, I think, and I crashed 1 time. But thanks to Rick, with his great pace, we managed to get the podium.
I don't give him all the. Don't tell him he's that good, mate. You did a lot of work tonight there, and it's good to see. Even though with those difficulties, you held on to the race and managed to get yourself back there and put it in a position where Rick could really shine tonight and use that pace he had to get you back onto the podium.
Yeah, my second stint was better for sure. I was motivated to do better for Rick. Yeah, but still very bitter about my first stint.
Yeah. Well, look, you've got a few solo races to do now, guys. You get back to the sprint format, 150k races. But the end of the season, we're going to see you team up for the big one at Bathurst to finalise the things.
Yeah, most likely. Keen on for Bathurst. Races at Bathurst always go good. A lot of chaos as well, so keen for that.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
obviously, pretty good track, Sebastian. You've done quite a few laps around. I would say.
yeah, I really like Bathurst. It's really a track I like. I'm not as fast as Rick, but will do my best.
Yeah. Mate, look, you guys, it all comes down to pit stop strategy. Sometimes just taking those risks there help you get back in the race, and it's all part of these endurance races. It's not just about being fast; it's about understanding how to use the pit stops to your advantage. Tonight, obviously, a shortened race with the track conditions out there, pretty dark, and we wanted to get things done here and try and get a clean race home. But run through your sponsors and congratulations on your third place.
Yeah, thank you. I'd just like to thank RaceKraft Simulations, Advanced Performance Machinery, PRT, everyone who's involved, and you guys for putting the broadcast.
Mate, we can't wait to see what you guys bring us for the next few rounds of racing. Of course, Mid-Ohio is our next one in a couple of weeks. So I can't wait to have you back on the AOSC. And it's fantastic to have you in here this season. And look, the improvements we're seeing from both of you as drivers is phenomenal. And obviously, PRT are doing a fantastic job with 3 of you now in the top 5. So good luck, and we'll see how you go for the rest of the season.
But thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Well, how good is it to hear from our top 3 races there, and good to have Sebastian Tixia join us, especially driving with Rick Kuznetsov, who is a young gun. Watch for him. I mean, PRT, they find these guys, don't they, Norrie? Brian Borgfank, he's got Corey Shepherd there, and now they got Rick Kuznetsov. Imagine those two forming up in the next couple of seasons.
Yeah, it's going to be remarkable to see how Rick and Corey may end up together at some point, and that'd be a dynamite combination in one of these endurance races. But yeah, there's a real sense of energy about that team at the moment, and they're really finding their strengths in these endurance races and the sprint races, so they're on a real swing of form.
Well, thank you to all of our sponsors who have made this possible here tonight. The broadcast, all thanks to Jinx Shifters and RaceKraft Simulations. That is round 10. Run and done at Circuit of the Americas. Your winners, obviously, being Corey Shepherd and Brian Borg. Runner-up, Tom Free and Jordan Ross. And in third place, Rick Kuznetsov and Sebastian Tixia. Shout out to our other sponsors, simrigs.com, Track Cams for Gourmets, AJ Insurance Services, COTA Industry, Race Circuit Art Australia, and Team 126 Racing. Thank you everyone who's joined us out there on the YouTube and Facebook broadcast. Can't wait to see you in a couple of weeks when we go to Mid-Ohio for round number 11. 150Ks coming your way for race number 202 in